to another day of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about PlayStation. Might be raising their prices. We have an article from Video Game Chronicles, and we also have one from Paul Tassie's Forbes. We're going to be talking about Valve responds to alleged Steam data breach leak of 89 million account details. We're also going to talk about and watch Force Gaming's. He's had 100 hours in Dune Awakening. He says his honest thoughts about after 100 hours. So we're going to do all these things today. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Make sure, if you're here now, you guys are, every day you're here, the ones that are here in the morning, hit that like button. It helps us out. It shoots us up to other people out there that like same kind of things that you like. So if you hit like button on this video and you hit like on another video and then they go, oh, this person likes this, they also might like this, they might show up in their feed. So I appreciate it very much if you hit that like button. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Mo? What's going on, Eclipse? Argus, Roic, Lord Chaos 78, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Z, what's going on? Who am I missing? Dolphin, good morning. Roadkill, good morning. Sarge, good morning. Did I say Dolphin? If I didn't say Dolphin, I'm saying Dolphin again. What's going on, Dolphin? All right. A little bit of housekeeping in the morning, like I always do. There will not be a Generation X Gaming podcast this evening. I know. I'm sad. I love doing that show. I was trying to cram everything in, and just a lot of stuff has been going on in my life the last, 2 weeks between construction and inspectors and my son getting injured and now birthdays. So my mother-in-law, or my great-grandmother-in-law, okay, my wife's grandmother, okay, is turning 95. She turned 95 yesterday, or 2 days ago, and we're having her birthday celebration this evening. And it starts at 6 o'clock, and it's downtown, and by the time I get down, there's a big group of us. It's like 25 of us having a party for her. It's going to be impossible for me to rush back and try to start GXG. So this week has just been a shit show as far as being consistent and trying to have a show, but it is what it is. So there will not be a show tonight, this evening. I'm going to try to play some video games in the evening and kind of upload them this weekend to give you guys some content for games over on 30 and Still Gaming. As far as this goes for the morning show, next week we have a couple of other people coming by, and so hopefully they don't disrupt my morning show. But we have people coming in installing gutter system, and we also have people doing some random things, fixing things around the house. So if you didn't know, we're basically doing construction around the house, making it bigger for myself. So that's what's happening. So my schedule's been a little bit crazy the last month or so, which I hate because, I'm a person of consistency, right? I like starting my time at the exact same time every single day. So I apologize ahead of time for all the sporadic time slots and shows being missed and whatnot. So let's move past that, and let's start off with Valve. Okay. So, Valve responds to alleged Steam data breach leak of 89 million account details. Here's the full story. Following the concerns about a major Steam data breach, Valve has responded. Now, this article comes from Windows Central. Okay, it says, new information has come to light regarding a recent alleged leak of over 89 million account details from Steam, one of the most popular gaming platforms in the world and the most popular client used by PC gamers worldwide, with over 120 million active users. A few days ago, a dark web monitoring group known as the Underdark.ai posted a warning to its LinkedIn, okay, claiming that it also came across a threat actor named Machine 1337 offering to sell over 89 million user records for a sum of $5,000. That seems pretty low, doesn't it? 89 million. I mean, even if you ask for $1, right? 25 cents per user? He's only asking for 5,000. This person, I'm sorry, you have to be a moron. I mean, I know you're a criminal and you're trying to data breach some things, but for only asking 5,000, I mean, hold on a second. Let's look at this. Let's look at this financially. Okay? If you're got 89 million divided by 5,000, he's only asking for like 17 cents. No, that's not right. Hold on a second. 89. Yeah, no. He's asking for 0.00056. Okay? Like, what an idiot. Right? What an idiot. Hey, if you're going to go to jail, you might as well ask for bigger money. So at least people don't think you're an idiot. They think you're a smart businessman being a criminal. Just my thoughts. Naturally, this ended up spiking quite a bit of panic, and many other outlets and community figures arguing that Steam users to change their password and enable two-factor authorization if they haven't already. A follow-up update from Underdark.ai and in the original post noted that the leaked sample from the data for sale specifically included a 2025 2FA SMS login time access code sent to users. Encompassing message contains delivered status, metadata, and routing costs, along with the phone numbers. Okay. Now, though, it appears that the threat is far less serious than was originally thought to be. Now, I have a question. If news outlets ran with it and said, you know, Steam's under attack, change your passwords, and now it's not as big as they thought, doesn't that mean the media failed us as a society? Right? Now, obviously, these are not like CNN, Fox, or CBS, MSNBC. These are gaming journalists reporting on gaming stuff, and something happened in the gaming industry, and they all ran with it without double-checking. Should say a whole lot about them not doing their research before posting the thing. It was quick. There's a leak. Let's post. Let's get the hits. Let's get the clicks. Which is just idiotic. It's almost as dumb as the guy asking for $5,000, okay? Asserting that none of the leaked data was ever leaked to the Steam accounts and that there's ultimately nothing for users to worry about. So let's hit the hornet's nest. Let's get everyone really upset, psyched out, change your password. And I know somebody will be like, well, it's good to change your passwords all the time. Yeah, but to say that your information has been stolen, right? Like, come on now. Come on. All right. It says, quote, the leak consisted of older text messages that include one-time codes that were only valid for 15-minute time frames and phone numbers that were also sent to. The leaked data did not associate to the phone numbers with the Steam account password information and payment information or other personal data. The statement reads, old text messages cannot be used to breach the security of your Steam account, and whenever a code is used to change your Steam email or password using SMS, okay, you receive a confirmation email and under or Steam secured messages. Now, quote, from a Steam perspective, customers do not need to change their password or phone numbers as a result of this event. This is also a good reminder to treat any account security message that you have have not explicitly requested as suspicious. Valve continued. He says, quote, we also recommend Steam users set up the Steam mobile authenticator, if any haven't already, as it gives the best way to send secure messages about your account and the account's safety. So, there you have it. While the leak of 2FA text messages and metadata did happen, none of it ties back to any personal data like Steam account login info and financial details. If you've been worried about the major breach of your security happening as a result of this leak, you can now breathe a sigh of relief. Well, I don't think this should have happened in the first place. I'll be honest. This is a story from a non-story. Because if nothing happened, then you shouldn't even be talking about this, right? But we are, because that's the morning show and we cover daily news, okay? So as far as how and where the leak originated from, it's unclear. Valve says it was a Steam breach, and Underdark.ai claimed that it was from the cloud communication company Twilio. It supposedly handles 2FA services for Steam. However, Valve has reportedly said it's not partnered with Twilio in any way. According to the statement from Twilio given by Bleeping Computer, there is no evidence to suggest that Twilio was breached, though the firm also didn't even give a clear answer about whether or not it's also worked with Valve before or is it doing so now. Regardless, it's good to hear from Valve itself that the leak isn't nearly as concerning as it seemed to be initially. Though a price has lowered as 5,000 arguably signaled the data wasn't very dangerous from the start. With that said, I still encourage you to set up Valve's Steam Guard mobile authenticator 2FA solution if you didn't use it already. Also, aware of any random messages and get on Steam. This happens all the time. I get emails. You guys get those emails and text messages that your package is being delivered from the U.S. Postal Service or something. You're like, I'm the worst person to put that scam on because I don't ever order anything. That goes through my wife. So I would never, ever get a text message from the United States Postal Service or UPS or everything. Like, all that stuff is so much bullshit, right? And then you have the other ones that happen through emails like, oh, your debt is in. And you're like, oh, my God, what did I purchase? And nothing actually ever happened. It's amazing, right? I don't know if I'm just like a different breed. I just don't actually like check emails or text messages or fall for this shit. But I do know there's millions of people that do fall for this shit all the time. Older people that don't really know technology. When they see something, they don't know what they purchase. A lot of people have credit cards and stuff that, or streaming services that they don't remember if they paid for or not paid for and whatnot. This particular story, though, shouldn't even be a story, right? So somebody jumped the gun. All these other organizations jumped on the gun of this, okay, and then spread it like wildfire. So everyone was like worried about a Steam breach. And meanwhile, Steam's like, what's going on? Nothing's happened, right? Nothing's happened. And the fact that someone has to write an article telling us that nothing happened, where if the people didn't report it originally, we wouldn't have known anything, and nothing did happen. So if people didn't run with it, then nothing would have happened, and we wouldn't have to have Devis, and we could have talked about a different story. But instead, we had to talk about this story because other people are idiots and running with stories that are not stories. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Yeah, chat, this is a story non-story, or a non-story story. A non-story story. Roic says, I have a friend that's in IT security, and he always says there's even a chance that it's true. Just go ahead and do it. Yeah, but there's a difference if it is true as far as changing your password, sure. But to run with a story, right? Run with a story. Oh, look. Oh, someone's calling me now. Oh, it's spam. No, I'm good. Right? And if it is true, right, great. I would hope that the organizations, the media organizations, just like, I don't care if you're reporting news for a little league for baseball in your hometown, right? Don't write a story until you double check that the actual story is true, right? Outlet after outlet ran with this story saying that there's a Steam breach of 89 million people, and everyone's like, oh my God, am I part of that? And yet there is no breach. There was no breach. Let's see how many leaks happen after that goes into effect. Well, maybe here, let me do a conspiracy here. Not that I actually believe this, but I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit to kind of give you the other side, which it could be. Maybe there wasn't enough people using the 2FA authorization, okay? So maybe they put this out there to freak people out, so they finally use the two-factor authorization. Maybe. Could be. Not saying that's what they did. I'm just saying a lot more people will probably use the two-factor authorization now. Roic says, I get the easy pass violation that is need to pay a fine or lose my license. We don't even have the tolls where I live at. Sarge says, I'm tired of this oopsie-daisy attitude. Like, it doesn't even mean anything. Fuck these companies. Eclipse says, I swear, all these companies go off fanboyism. Like, I guarantee you bunch of fanboys were being like, I thought the PC Master Race was safe. Right. And then that's a whole completely different story, right? Because I saw a whole bunch of people talking on social media about, we don't get hacks on. Sony gets hacked all the time. I mean, Sony gets hacked all the time. We literally have a song, right? We got a song for it.
Just a quiet night, I was feeling fine. Booted up my PlayStation, about to get online. Then I saw the error like a ghost in the night. PSN was down, man, this ain't right. Check my phone, Twitter's on fire. Sony says don't worry, we're working on the wires. 20 hours later, what do we get? 5 free days, man, that's some bullshit. Oh no, Sony got hacked again. Servers are down and they don't know when. Every time we trust, they break it again. Maybe I should just switch to LAN. Oh no, Sony got hacked again. Servers are down and they don't know when. Every time we trust, they break it again. Maybe I should just switch to LAN.
Right? Like, this happens all the time. So people are like, oh, this doesn't happen on console. It happened like 7 times over the last decade. So this didn't actually happen. There was no breach. There was no hack. Roic says they definitely should find the facts out before running with any story, but it seems like people always jump the gun. We, the people, can jump the gun, right? Like, if you're in a neighborhood, and what's up, Hilly? I didn't say hi to you. I saw you earlier. Good morning, right? If your neighbor says, little Timmy chopped off his hand, and really it's like just a cut on his hand, that's understandable, right? Because that's like the neighborhood talk. But when you're an outlet that gives news to tens of thousands to millions of people, you can't just run a story without fact-checking, right? It's so stupid. Hilly says, in further development, my Xbox account has also been hacked. However, my wife has also been watching shows on my Netflix account, meaning recommendations are busted. Oh no. Oh no, she logged in underneath your account, Hilly. So now you're getting like these feminine female shows. You're like, I don't want to watch what's the baking a cake again. Yeah. Dolphin says, what a terrible criminal. Yeah, 5,000 for 89 million accounts. He's asking for like fractions of a penny. What an idiot. What an idiot. Waterbear says, I mean, this is what happens when John Walker writes the news articles. What's going on, Tweak? I look at several sites and outlets before I believe anything these days, but that is a problem. That is a problem in itself, Roic. Back in the day, right? Back in the day, printing something in a newspaper was official. And you know why? Because they didn't want to waste the ink, because it's very expensive to print paper and stuff like that, right? So you want to make sure before you print it on paper that someone double-checked your work, two-factor authorization of basically, hey, we wrote this story. Is this official story? Yes. Great. Let's check it. Let's see if the words on the paper make sense. Let's not have any errors, because once we print it, that's it. Okay? But now we don't have that. Now we have digital form, throw it up, and we'll worry about it later. The worst part about this is someone can talk shit and not retract it later, right? Not retract it later. They just say what they want, and they don't have to worry about repercussions or anything like that or consequences afterwards, because they're just like, people will forget about it, right? Back in the day, print is print. It's there forever. This is like, no big deal. They'll forget about it. Waterbear says, all women watch our killer shows for some odd reason. Goes to show you women are insane killers. I mean, I can't confirm or deny. Female shows. Roic says, wonder if I hold as a pinky up to his lip. Agreed. There is so much fake stuff that's posted nowadays. Yeah, because there's, as Sarge is saying, there's zero integrity. It's not about giving you the right information. It's about getting out first and telling the clicks, get the clicks, right? It's not about it's not about integrity. It's not about facts. It's not about anything else but get the clicks. I mean, look at the sites that we're on, right? If you look at some of these sites, if I zoom out, this one's actually not that bad, okay? Like Windows Central's not that bad, but there's usually tons of like advertisements, right? Look, the advertisements are down here of other things to read more and click on and stuff like that. Other articles, hey, you got videos that pop up that you can't take down. There's things that pop up over here, right? There's just constant articles, and that's why I zoom 250% in so you don't see all that shit, okay? Because it's not about giving you information. It's not about giving you information. It's about keeping you on the site, getting the clicks, so the advertisers pay them the money. That's the difference. Eclipse says the two-way for Steam, the two ways for Steam is very good though. You've just used the app, which is also there's no reason not to use that, and the Steam also makes it where you can buy the Steam wallet points from stores and everything. Yeah, Steam is very, not to say they won't ever get hacked. Obviously, if there's a will, there's a way. Okay, but what Steam does is much more efficient than any, I would say, any other kind of site out there. What's going on, Aku? Says, sounds like we need an executive order making it illegal for new places to write online, and the only legal way to write is via a newspaper. Dolphin says, Water, is it true every woman I've been with falls asleep to murder mysteries? You know, what was that Murder She Wrote back in the day? That was the first one, and then it all went downhill from there. This is why I want names for these people that are going on blast. Well, Jez Gordon, who wrote this article, is giving you the facts. I'm sorry, it's not even from Jez Gordon. I retract that. It's not Jez. It's Brendan Lowry. Okay, Brendan Lowry from Windows Central came out and actually gave you the right information that there is no actual, breach, where everybody else said there was. Now, I don't know if Windows Central actually ran with it as well. Even if they did run with it yesterday, at least they came back and reported it the correct way. It's all about the clicks and the ad revenue. 100% Roadkill. In the old days, if you put out fake article and you're not part of the actual rag mag, you were fired. Yeah, 100%. Dolphin says, wait. So this is a dude got a bunch of one-time codes and tried to sell them. They expired in like 2 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah, he got a bunch of stuff for 15 minutes and then tried to get the 5,000 for it. He was... Most criminals are not smart. Most inspired criminals are not smart. Aku says, well, at least Murder, She Wrote was actually good. Oh, no, it was good. I'm just saying that's where it started. People like mystery type of stuff, right? Now with reality shows and all this other documentary type stuff. Yeah, I don't know why. My wife actually doesn't watch that type of stuff. She doesn't watch it. I don't know if she reads it, though. She reads a lot of books. But I don't think she watches a lot of stuff like that. She's a when she watches movies or shows, she's all about the what do you call those? Rom-coms. Right? Like the cheesy romantic movie type stuff. That's what she watches. Krebsy says, somehow this is Travis's fault. Hilly says, I always prefer Columbo. Oh, you know what? That just reminded me of something, Hilly. I was at breakfast this morning, and I said a movie I watched this weekend. I said, I think it's called Nona, right? Which is Vince Vaughn's in it. It's on Netflix. It's a nice movie. It's a nice little family type of movie, right? And then she said, oh, did you watch Four Seasons? And I said, no, I didn't know there was a show called Four Seasons. I go, there's an old movie called Four Seasons with Carol Burnett. And she was like, who? And I was like, Carol Burnett? Now, she's young. She was like 23, 24, right? And she's like, I don't know who that is. I go, oh. And she's this young girl that works at the cafe. She's very women power type of thing. And I said, well, you should know Carol Burnett. I was like, she was a leader for women back in the Hollywood days, early Hollywood, where she had her own, show and stuff like that. And she goes, oh, did she have a show on TV when a TV was a box? And I was like, holy Christ. Yes. When TV was a box, right? With the 4:3 ratio. She goes, yeah. And then these words came out of her mouth. She's like, Yeah, my grandmother tells me about that. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit. So when you said Columbo, that just brought me back to what she was saying about the television box when it was a box. Dolphin says 30. I mean, you're still alive and married. It makes sense. Yeah, she watches comedies, not murder mysteries. Hilly says just one more question. Just one more question. Speaking of murder, and the wife and I are going to see the new Final Destination. Heard it's pretty good. I think the concept is pretty funny. I stopped watching them years ago. I can't watch a Final Destination film, Water, because it reminds me of a past relationship I was with when the movie first came out. The person I was with was a terrible relationship, so I can't watch Final Destination films because it links to that. But I hear the concept's pretty good. It's like the people that are born because the people in the old movies lived, so their next of kin, basically, their lineage has to die because they lived. I think that's a pretty good concept. Dolphin says I missed Vince Vaughn movies. It's actually a pretty good movie. This is actually a pretty good movie. He looks old, man. He looks old. Do you know how old Vince Vaughn is? Without looking it up. Don't look it up, chat. Do you know how old Vince Vaughn is? Okay. Just take a guess. I thought he was in his 60s. Okay, I thought he was in his 60s. Okay, I was completely wrong. Water Bear says 55. Did you look it up, Water? Did you look it up? Big Mo says like 65. I thought the same, Mo. I thought he was like 63, 65. The dude is 55. 55. Let me bring up a picture of Vince Vaughn. Okay, let me bring up a picture of Vince Vaughn. This man has done some shit in his life. Right? In the movie, I don't know if they made him look older or what. Does he look, in this picture, does he look 55? It looks like he's done some shit in his life because he's aging the opposite of graceful. Look like this, 30. We're the last of the great generation. We grew up during a time of little to no technology and the best technology out. True. Crowd says, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Always got me, man. When the mask came off at the end. Scoob. Aku said, wait. Aku said up here, if you're a feminist, you should know Cara Burnett and Lucille Ball. 100%. That's what I said to her. I was like, how do you not know these people? Right? Like, come on. I love Lucille Ball and Cara Burnett. Cara Burnett, very funny woman back in the day. If you guys ever, she's still funny, by the way. I don't know I honestly thought she died a couple years ago, but she's alive and well, and she's still fucking hilarious. My grandmother used to watch all her shows, and just saying the little things, right? Like I talk about like when I drink root beer, it brings me back to when I'm like 12 years old. We talk about Final Destination, reminds me of a past relationship. When I say the word Cara Burnett, it reminds me of my grandmother. She would watch their shows and she would laugh hysterically. Just right now talking about it, I can hear her laughter. Like cackling, man. She would laugh so hard from those shows that she could not breathe. It was fantastic. Between Lucille Ball, Cara Burnett, all those type of shows back in the day, hilarious. Oh, for sure, Water. You know he's doing something to look that old at 55. I'm 40. I am 47. Okay, I am 47. Okay, I'm not a perfect specimen. He's just 8 years older than me and looks like he's 20 years older than me. Sarge says, Hollywood wears you down, bro. Look at him in Swingers. Well, he was young in Swingers. He was like in his late 20s in Swingers. Right? Because Swingers was like 20. Swingers, what, 96, 97? Yeah, he had a good run. I think he still has a good time in him. I really do. It's crazy seeing that Vince Vaughn and how Jon Favreau they're really close, really good friends, and to see what Jon Favreau has done in his career and what Vince Vaughn has done with his career. Dolphin says, I'm going to ask my baby mama if she knows who Carol Burnett is later and tell her it all makes sense. 30, to be fair, the young feminists are idiots. They're just followers, not leaders. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, they want to be part of something, but they don't really understand what they're a part of. Hilly says, well, he's very tall. Maybe it's gravity. Possible, Hilly. Maybe because he's above. Wait, how? I gotta find out how tall he is. Hold on a second. He's 6'5". He's 6'5". I know a couple people that are 6'4". They're aging beautifully. So that 1 extra inch of 6'5", he's aging like shit. Yeah. Aging beautifully at 6'4". 6'5", that's the cutoff. That's the cutoff. Dolphin says Vince Vaughn has to have some good money. He's worked with a lot of AAA actors. I mean, we could look up his net worth. His net worth is 75 mil. That's a good. I mean, I'm not. You know, I wouldn't throw that away. 75 mil. I'll be good. What's going on, Jason? Russell Crowe looks terrible now. Well, he's big. He got chubby. Mo says, you know who aged well? Morgan Freeman. He's like an alien because he looks the same. He's aged, but I know what you're saying. He's aged very gracefully. Like, how old is Morgan Freeman? He's 87, man. 87. He looks younger than Vince Vaughn. Morgan Freeman looks younger than Vince Vaughn. Hold on. Maybe Hilly's got something. Hold on. What's Morgan Freeman's height? He's 6'2". I think Hilly's got something here. 6'2", aging gracefully, Morgan Freeman. Look at this man. Look at this man. Aging beautifully, 87. 6'2". Vince Vaughn, 6'5". Aging like a tire running over shit. I take it back. No offense, Vince Vaughn. Love your work. Mr. Luke, what's going on, Mr. Luke? Hey, I'm 6'5". I'm aging very well, thank you. It's a U.S. thing. I mean, are you 55? Are you 55, Mr. Luke? Maybe that. Look, I dated a Hungarian girl back in the day. Okay, her mom, how old she was compared to where her mom was, which is like 25, 30 years older. Her mom looked like her sister. But then she hit, I think it was like 50. And she went from looking like she's 25 to looking like she's 83. I'm just saying. So maybe it'll catch up to you. And this is brought to you by
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But
Here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
We're going down the rabbit hole, chat. We're going down the rabbit hole. Mr. Luke says, I am not 55 yet. We'll get back to you at 55. Let us know. Let's see what else. Roic says, have you seen the recent pics of Diddy since he's been in jail? He looks like he aged like 30 years in time. Well, that's because he's not putting all that product on his face and injecting himself with like young person's blood. That's what happens. Have you seen, talk about stressful jobs, right? Have you ever looked at, look at Barack Obama when he came into office and 8 years after he left. The man aged 30 years. He aged 30 years. Meanwhile, Morgan Freeman, who's got a cushy job as an actor, okay? He's aged 5 years in 30 years. Check general. All right, give me a second. Good comparison. Sean Connery, a UK actor, and Thomas Brody, another UK actor, both aged 34. Shut up. Shut up. Is this real? Is this real? This can't be real, Krebsy. You're saying this is Sean Connery at 34. And this is, who is this? Brody Stackster? Thomas Brody? At 34? Holy shit. This man looks like he can't even get a lottery ticket. Are you kidding me? This man's a man. This man is not a man. He's 34? Has he gone through puberty yet? Can he grow facial hair? Look at Sean Connery. God damn, that man is a handsome guy. What a handsome man he was. I'm as straight as straight can be. But Sean Connery's a looker, man. This man is 34 and this man's 34. Get out of here. This can't be him at 34. Come on now. I don't believe that. That man's Thomas Brody. Hold on. I got to look him up. I don't want to say I don't believe you guys, but come on. All right, he looks a little older here. That picture's got to be. All right, hold on. He still looks young, but this picture he looks much. Still, he looks young. Yeah, he's just young. Holy Christ. I don't think that man could grow a beard. He could still be on Dawson's Creek, for God's sakes. Dolphin says his balls haven't dropped. Meanwhile, Sean Connery has slayed women with just a look. That's right. 30 now versus 30 then. Yeah, this right here. I mean, he had more hair on his head at 34 than I did. Holy Christ, though. This can't be the most recent photo. That's crazy. He's Benjamin Button. That's what he is, Dolphin. He's aging backwards. he started off really old, and now Thomas looks super young. It's got to be. He's the actual real Benjamin Button. This is the Helldiver players versus the Fortnite players comparison. That's good. That's good. Okay, the difference between I've killed a man with bare hands and I've killed my Tamagotchi by forgetting to feed it. Yeah. I don't think Thomas has seen a day of hardship in his life. Right? I don't think Thomas has built anything with his hands. He's like, "Don't touch me. This is my moneymaker." There's no way. All right. Next story. Holy Christ. How do you look that young? Waterbear says, which guys do you think they're referring to when they talk about 100 men versus gorilla? I would hope, Water, that they're talking about Magnus versus, Magnus, the world's strongest man versus gorilla, like those type of men compared to Thomas here. Would you? Okay, hold on a second. Let's go back to this. Okay, let's go back to this. Hold on. Where is it going? I'm opening this thing up and it won't. Okay. So let's go with that. All right, let's go back to which guys do you think they're referring to when they talk about 100 men versus gorilla? Okay. You would have to put 1,000 of these men compared to 100 of these men. Like, look at this. We are evolving backwards as society. If you're comparing these two at 34 and 34, like, don't tell me that Sean Connery was a man at 12 compared to Thomas here at 34. At 12, he could grow a beard. If I shave, Mo, and I haven't been shaving quite a bit, I think 2017, 18 was the last time I, like, clean shaved. I look young, but I don't look like I'm in my 20s anymore. You probably can knock off 7, 8 years off of me. I could probably, like, pass as, like, a late 30-year-old. Eclipse says, someone like that look like they does not have any stress in their life. No. Stress for him is he missed an appointment at the beauty salon. That's what stress is for him. And I don't know Thomas as a person, right? But he might have stress. But his face says otherwise. Waterbear says, well, it's true. The testosterone levels have dropped. I believe they said about 60% since the late 1960s. Hence, more effeminate looks now. I see it. Sarge says a gorilla will kill 100 men if it goes into a fight mode. Their faces would be broken, and they would be tossed like a rag doll. You would all have to, all in, Sarge. You would all have to go into the gorilla as fast as possible. 100 men. Not 100 men. 100 men. Like, left side compared to the right side, right? If they all went in together, they could do it. I think they could do it. Once you get around the gorilla, doesn't matter how big he is. People will die, people will lose their faces and stuff, but if they all combine on him at once, and you get around his neck, I think you could choke him out. He's still got arteries and stuff. You could choke him out. You gotta squeeze though. You can't get Thomas on his back. You can't get Thomas on the back of a gorilla, right? And try to squeeze his neck. He just flick him off, right? He would just flick him off, right? You need a big man, right? You need like Brock Lesnar, right? Get up in there and just tighten it up. Life is just easier these days. How many people in their 20s and 30s have ever had to change their own tire and not just call AAA or had them do it? It's very true. A lot of people don't know how to fix anything. They don't know how to change their air filter in their house, let alone change a tire. A poke his eye out. You just piss him off. You better press hard. If you have the opportunity to get to a gorilla's eye, you better make sure you do damage. Otherwise, you are done. Dolphin says you have to sacrifice about 30 weaklings about eventually you just poke his eye out. You get in there and you gouge him. You definitely don't want to be in the front of the gorilla. They move quick though, man. I love gorillas. Gorillas are my favorite animal in the entire world. The close second is alligators. Okay? Gorillas are just what specimens they are, man. Talking about 100 Mario-sized men versus Donkey Kong. Haley says if someone loses a limb, use that to choke out the gorilla. Force feed it his arm. Enemy can't breathe. The enemy can't fight. That's exactly right, Haley. Just have to You just sacrifice. You sacrifice Thomas here. Maybe the gorilla would fall in love with him because he's so cute. That's it. 99 men and Thomas. Okay? And Thomas can soothe him with his looks. Man, has this show gone completely off the rails? Gone completely off the rails. We've definitely gone down a fucking rabbit hole this morning. Jesus. Saint says, good morning. Does anyone know how to replace a smoke detector battery? Yes. Step one, get a battery. Okay? Could be AA, could be AAA, could be a watch battery. Okay? Got to know. Okay? Step 2, get a ladder. Okay? Step 3, twist and pull out. Now, there'll be wires. Sometimes there's wires. Sometimes you have the non-wire ones. Okay? You're going to have to disconnect the wires, and then you're going to have to open up the back, and then it could be a 9-volt, right? Sometimes they slide open. Sometimes it's on the back. Okay? Most of the time, it's a detector you can leave up there. You just slide the door open, pull the 9-volt out, put the 9-volt up, and then you got to hit the button. You got to hit the button to reset it. And then once you do that, you're good to go. Now that you told me that, Saint, all I can hear in the back of my head, okay, all I can hear in the back of my head is beep, beep. Hal says a gorilla have a stronger bite than a lion. I love how we all come up with so many scenarios on how to beat a gorilla. I mean, that's what you would do just as a instinct, as a human, right? When you're dropped into something, you're thinking of 1,000 different ways. What can I do? What can I use? What can I see, right? It was a rock, a stick, a branch, run, right? Whatever it is. The gorilla's doing the same thing. The gorilla's like looking at you going, what's going to happen here? Do I have to kill this bitch? Or are they going to leave me alone because they can't be that stupid to attack me, right? So the gorilla would just be like, and then you'd be like, oh shit, dude. All right, we're good. We're good, right? Don't ever beat your chest back to a gorilla because the gorilla will take that as a open threat and they will kill you. One time, here's a gorilla story for you. If you ever been to the Washington, I think it was Washington. Yeah, it was Washington Zoo. Okay, was it Washington? No, it's in it wasn't Washington. No, it was Washington. So in DC they have a zoo, and they have this massive gorilla, silverback gorilla. I forget the name of the gorilla in this, I don't know, very small cage compared to like if you go here to a zoo in Florida, like they have open grounds they can run around. He's trapped in a box like he's in prison. Okay. And I happened to walk up to the glass and I didn't see him. Okay. And when they say don't tap on the glass, don't tap on the glass. Okay. I like looked in there, couldn't see where he was. He was in the back. So there's like a little opening. So he's got this like giant branch inside there. Right. And he was just hiding in the back. And I went, boop, 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 boop. Dude came out full speed. Okay. Ran up to the glass, both fists, and boom. The whole place shook. And I was just like, I literally was petrified. I was just like, my heart stopped. I was like, holy shit. My wife was behind me and she's like, oh my God. I was just like, holy shit. The glass is like this thick. He hit that thing so goddamn hard. And never again have I waved to one, knock on a thing. I'm just like hands in pocket, looking at them as innocent as possible. If I was one of the 100 men in the against the gorilla, I would literally just lay down in a ball and let the gorilla play with me. Like, just pick me up and, like, put me as a doll, right? I'll distract him as everybody else is trying to attack him. That's what I would do. Right? Just submit and be like, oh, okay, do what you want. As the rest of the guys are trying to, Dolphin will be up there trying to poke him in the eye. Not me. I will try to make friends with that gorilla. Hilly says, today we decided no to gaming news and opted for Vince Vaughn aging, ways to kill a gorilla, and looking at a sexy Sean Connery. You never know what you're going to get, Hilly. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, nowhere does it say gaming news, just as the Daily Grind. What if you attach a sword to the gorilla's arm? Oh, my God. Over. Maybe we'd be lucky if he cut himself. He'd be like, what is it? And like slice himself up at Krebsy? I don't know. Saint says, thanks, chirp. Chirp. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat, $1.99 super chat. Appreciate it very much. Dual swords' arms. Like, did the gorilla all of a sudden become like from like Saw? He's got appendages that are weapons now. Robert Jones says Hilly did an AI summary. Thanks for that. Yeah, because they do that every once in a while, right? Inside of YouTube now. All right, let's go to the second story. From hacking into Steam to gorillas, Sean Connery, and Vince Vaughn to nearly 5 years in, PlayStation 5 sales remain neck and neck with PlayStation 4. If you guys like what we do here, we just have conversations, give you my thoughts and opinions on things. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay? Give a gorilla 2 lightsabers. Why 2? Does he need 2? I think 1 is fine. One hell of a transition. I mean, how would you transition out of that, what we just did? How would you transition what we just did? All right. So nearly 5 years in, PlayStation 5 sales remain neck and neck with PlayStation 4. Well, all I hear from just that title is if they're neck and neck, they're not better, right? It's not better than the PlayStation 4. It's just a little bit worse than PlayStation 4, right? So nearly 5 years into the PlayStation 5, sales remain neck and neck with its predecessor, PlayStation 4. In the latest results covering 3 months ending in March 31st, 2025, Sony said it sold some 2.8 million PlayStation 5 consoles for a total of 18.5 for the fiscal year, down to 20.8 million. Down from 20.8 million. Okay, that means the PlayStation 5 now has a 77.8 million units total since it launched in November of 2020, just over 1 million units behind, behind PlayStation 4 was at the same period of its life cycle. Okay, again, that's shipped, not sold. Okay, the figure comes from from PlayStation 5 suffered significant stock issues during a pandemic, and PlayStation 4 was also significantly cheaper than the PlayStation 5 currently at launch aligned. Okay, 5 years after the launch, a standard PlayStation 4 could be purchased for as little as $200, adjusted for inflation, while PlayStation 5 was actually increased in price since the launch at $450. Going forward, Sony faces a challenging economic climate with PlayStation 5. Most consoles are manufactured in China, where U.S. tariffs of 30% currently applied, but are paused down to 145% for 90 days. Now, PlayStation 4 went on to sell 117 million units, which is Sony's second best-selling console behind the PlayStation 2, which sold 160 million units. Okay, so there you go. There's the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 shipments. Okay, where they exactly on pace for the exact same thing, right? PlayStation 4 is the blue line. PlayStation 5 is the light blue line. So there's what do we got here? Months since launch. So 2020, this is about 2021 right here. So less from month 10 to, well, it's been less ever since, right? So the supply chain, even then, it got pretty close 34 months afterwards. It was about three years, 3 years into the cycle, but it's still below what it was, okay? Here's the PlayStation 4 versus PlayStation 5 shipments aligned for March of 2025 as well, okay? So takes the lead a little bit, then drops back, takes the tide, way below, a little bit higher here in the fifth fiscal year, quarter 3. It says the Consumer Technology Associate, the CTA, was warned that Donald Trump's tariffs could lead to console prices rising by nearly 70% in the U.S. Looking ahead at the current fiscal year ending in March 31st, 2025, Sony said it expects to sell fewer PlayStation 5 consoles at around 15 million units, which would see a PlayStation 4 pull ahead slightly since it managed 17.8 million units during the same period. However, it expects to increase the first-party game sales with Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, and Marathon due out this year. PlayStation 5 sales forecasted for the current business year will certainly be affected by Grand Theft Auto 6's recent delay of May of 2026. The DFC Intelligence, the CEO, David Cole, commented that the delay of GTA 6 is a real blow to the PlayStation 5. This was supposed to be the product that got as many consumers to get off the PlayStation 4 and onto the PlayStation 5. I've been saying that for the longest time. That's a console seller, okay? And I think this is so stupid on, obviously, Xbox and PlayStation and all of them raising the price of this, because there has to be a time period where people are okay with this, right? People look at this, they might have buyer's remorse now when they purchase a console and be like, because they'll buy it initially because they're excited for it. But then they're like, ugh, can I afford that? Because then reality kicks back in. You know, something else pops up in their life, and they're like, oh, can I make a return on this, right? So it says gaming and network service segments, fiscal year 2024 sales, 402.3 billion yen, 9% increase. Okay, 124.6 billion yen, 43% increase. So a decrease here, fiscal year 2025 forecast year on year, 370.0 yen, 8% decrease, and 65.2 yen, 16% increase the first-party game software titles. Okay, Sony reported that the sales of the game and network service division were up 9% year over year to about 31.5 billion, and operating income increased of 43% to around 2.8 billion, which said it's also partly due to the third-party game sales and in-game spending. Sony said that monthly active users, gaming users, for the year ended up with April 1st of 2025 were up 5% at 124 million users, which is the highest PlayStation history. Last year, the company said that about half of the monthly active users were on PlayStation 4. Imagine that. Imagine that. People telling me that I'm wrong about half the people still not even on PlayStation 5. They're still on PlayStation 4. And the company said about half of the monthly active users are still on PlayStation 4. Okay. So for the fiscal year, Sony's network, right? So 124 million. I said 67 million are still people still over on PlayStation 4, right? I mean, it's pretty fucking close, man, right? I said 67 million people still over on that. So we have 124 million divided by 2. Yeah, 62. So I'm off by 5 million, right? So 62 million people over on PlayStation 4 still. Okay. For the fiscal year of Sony's network service revenue, which encompasses of PlayStation Plus advertising revenue, increased to 22.7. Software sales on PlayStation 4 and 5 increased on 5.9% year over year to 303 million units. 28.9 million were also the first-party titles. Digital software accounted for 76% of game sales compared to 70% last year, right? We're almost at the 80% mark for digital software. Commenting on the results, Tokyo-based industry consultant told the VGC that, quote, "It's not easy to do business for the console manufacturer these days. There are tariffs, inflations, higher production costs, slower pace for first-party releases, and general population uncertainty about future to consider." Continues on saying, in Sony's case, that one critical system seller, GTA 6, slipped out of the fiscal year to perhaps the biggest blow of them all. Against the backdrop, Sony's numbers all the past year also look out to be solid, also thanks to the fact that Microsoft apparently pivots away from hardware to some extent. So there you go for that. And we'll continue on with, oh, that's the wrong one there. We'll continue on to Forbes article. Sony indicates PlayStation 5 prices may go up soon due to Trump's tariffs. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's take away the tariffs for a second. Sony already raised the price before the tariffs. Okay? They raised the price by putting out, they never lowered the price. And it's not just a Sony thing, by the way. Nobody lowered the prices of anything. Okay? Microsoft didn't lower their prices 5 years into the cycle. Sony didn't lower their prices 5 years into the cycle. Sony came out with a higher-end Pro. A lot of people thought the Pro was going to be the next tier and they were going to lower the PlayStation 5. That didn't happen. They raised the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Okay? Xbox now raised their price of their systems. And now they've already raised the price in a certain couple regions, Sony has. And now they're raising the price potentially, again, because of the tariffs. Tariffs or not, the industry decided they were going to raise the price for games and they're going to raise the price for controllers, peripherals, and now they're also going to raise the price again for the consoles, right? And if they don't raise the price for the PlayStation 5 Pro, okay, what do you think the PlayStation 6 is going to be? The PlayStation 6 can't be lower priced than the PlayStation 5 Pro. Sorry. Okay, so when they say they blaming because of Trump's tariffs, these things are not going to go down. These things are not going to go down. They'll just raise the price and put it towards the consumers. Okay, so let's look at this. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay, Sony indicates that PlayStation 5 prices may go up soon due to Trump's tariffs. A few weeks after the Xbox said it was raising prices on its hardware significantly due to Trump's slate on tariffs, now even with the most them significantly reduced, Sony seems to poise up to the price of, or position, no, poised, up to the price of PlayStation 5 hardware as well. Not that long after, it already previously raised prices and launched massively expensive upgraded consoles on the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is less than a year already, right? Because it came out late last year. Sony just had its quarterly earnings report, and with them inevitable focus on Trump's tariffs and how they affect both production and pricing. According to the Sony CFO, Lin Tao, Sony needs to find 100 billion yen, or around $500 million US dollars, because of the current tariffs. Here's what he said. In terms of the tariffs, we are not just simply calculating the simple tariff prices to come up with 100 billion yen, but we're also thinking about the current available information and looking at the market trend. We also pass the price and also shipment allocations, so we're taking a different measurement in managing to come up with 100 billion yen. It says passing the price. would be passing the price, passing into consumers, hence the potential price hike on the hardware like the PlayStation 5. Now, I just want to let you guys know that this is business 101, right? They're going to pass it along to us. They're not going to eat those costs, okay? Even though they made profit after profit after profit on the consoles, on the actual software, on the peripherals, and all this stuff, they are doubling down on, well, the people that are already with us in the PlayStation 4, if they want to buy a PlayStation 5, we're going to pass it along to them because we don't want to take the hit, right? I'm saying I'm the company now, right? The company doesn't want to take the hit, so they're going to pass that along to the consumer. Okay, so surprisingly, Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki actually said that they might consider making hardware in the U.S., which is what Trump wants anyway, right? He wants people to make production inside. But even if they make it in the U.S., do you think that Sony is going to lower the prices of their necks? Because they can't just like move it over and like tomorrow they're building the system over here. Okay, they got to set it up, and then who do you think they're going to pass those prices on to? Hello, it's going to pass it on us regardless. So it doesn't matter if they come to U.S. They're still going to charge more money for the thing. Okay, which has also been a big stated goal for Trump's tariffs. Though this does not seem to be happening across multitude of industries, given how long it would take to set up and how to influx the entire economy. Okay, tariff situation also seems to be changing week to week. This past week, Trump already dropped tariffs on China from tariffs on China from 145% to 30%. Not the exceptional level that was recently, but still enough to affect Sony with significant hardware productions remaining in China, as previously the tariff was 10%. What would be the price? What would be a price increase on the PlayStation 5 look like? That's not stated, but it was also compared that Xbox did it with their own hardware recently, which would result in significant hikes. Okay, which they've raised up theirs to 720, which is still a dumb move. Okay, so TV's best, that's more information. Xbox Series S 512 went up from 300 to 379. Xbox Series S 1 terabyte went from 350 to 430. Xbox Series X digital went from 450 to 550. Xbox Series X went from 500 to 600. And Xbox Series X 2 terabyte went from 600 to 740. I think it's 720 if I'm not mistaken. So I think that might be a typo. But regardless, it's still more money than the Pro. Same console on Monday is now more expensive than the Pro on Tuesday, right? That's anywhere from $80 to $140 price increase per different unit. If Sony follows suit, that could look like this. Okay, again, this is not happening, but this is what it could look like. Okay, PS5 Slim Digital, $449 to $550. PS5 Slim Disc, $500 to $600. PS5 Pro to $700 to this question mark, but let's say at least $100, so $800. Some people are saying up to $920. Okay, for a single console, double the price of the PlayStation 5 launched at. He says those prices are just estimates, of course, and Sony has not confirmed a price or raise on the PlayStation 5s, even though says it's considering it. But while Xbox is roasted for the big price increase at the time, it felt like it was inevitable. Sony would do the same with the PlayStation hardware, and we're also perhaps the verge of happening soon. Okay, so here's my thoughts on this. If Sony is smart, which looking at the landscape of what's happening right now with the way that at least at least Nintendo came out with a new system, even though it's like an upgrade of the Nintendo Switch, right? They came out with a brand new system so they could raise the price. Microsoft didn't come out with a new system, and they just raised the price. If PlayStation, they know they're going to make sales, they're waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out, right? They know they're going to make sales. But the problem is, do they eat the costs, right? We know PlayStation was making money off of each of the consoles, and now they're at a crossroad. They're like, do we make more money by selling and raise the price and we have less sales happening? Okay, or do we push forward, leave the prices where they are, and sell more consoles, but we eat the cost of the tariffs, we eat the cost of what we're losing on the actual console to get more engagement with the actual software. Now, there is talks about how they are looking at monthly active users now, okay? And Sony's looking at monthly active users, meaning that when you go back to this thing over here, okay, and we look at this chart, they know, Sony's pretty smart, they know that these sales numbers for this console is never going to do what the PlayStation 4 is. Even if it does, let's say it hits the mark of the PlayStation 2. Let's just say the PlayStation 5 does beat the PlayStation 4 and then approaches on the PlayStation 2, which is 160 million units. That's still only 160 million units. And they're looking at monthly active users. Well, monthly active users, look, Sony's been trying to get more third-party games out there, right? On more platforms, or more first-party games out there. They're trying to get their live service games on more third-party, other marketing platforms as well, Xbox, PC, and whatnot, maybe even Switch. So to get that monthly active users up, they need to put more money into the software side than the actual hardware side, because it doesn't look like the hardware side is going to surpass by leaps and bounds over the last systems. Okay, so they're already approaching on better sales than obviously in the PlayStation 3. They're on the same path as PlayStation 4, but the PlayStation 4 stalled out around 117 million units, which PlayStation 5 could beat. But at the end of the day, that's still not a big market or bigger market. It's still less than. And consoles have been going down since Matt Piscatella even said back in 2008 is when the peak of consoles were. Okay, and ever since then, it's gone down in price. So now Sony's trying to look at monthly active users, which is what Microsoft has been doing. Hence why they don't share the numbers, and they just tell you the active users. Okay, but now PlayStation is trying to do the exact same thing because they're making more money off of that side than they are the actual selling of the console side. So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens, and we'll see if they raise the prices. Now, they did raise the prices in, I think it was 8 regions, if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 8 regions, which is nothing compared to the bigger picture, but I think they do. I said they would probably raise it about a month after Xbox. I said this when Xbox raised it. I said that PlayStation will probably raise the prices within a month and a half. So I don't know if they do it that fast, but I do see a price increase happening because obviously they want to stay profitable because they need this thing to go up. And if they want that to go up, then they have to pass the buck to us, to the consumers, and the consumers are going to be paying $80 for the video games. They're going to be paying $700 for the consoles, and that's just the way it's going to be, $800, $900. But at that point, you're now approaching in on the price of a PC. Okay, now if people look at this and go, well, it's not comparable because what you can do on the PlayStation 5 Pro, sure. A PlayStation 5 Pro right now at $700 is worth the money compared to paying for a $800, $900 PC. But now if a PlayStation has to raise the price up to what a PC would cost, well, then now you're approaching on that type of cost. So it's like, should I go with a PC instead of a console? Because then on the next consoles come out, PlayStation 6, Xbox, whatever, okay, the next Nintendo, are they going to start pushing up even higher? Because if the Xbox Series X and X, there's like an extra $140, $80 to $140, and now the X is at $740, what's the next Xbox going to be? The next Xbox is going to be $800, $900. The next PlayStation 6 could be $800 to $900. And if that's the case, more people will start debating, should I even stick with the console anymore, if we're even in that situation anymore, or do they go with PC? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the live chat. Where do you think? Do you think Sony increases the prices for the PlayStation 5? Do you think they join the idiotic move that Xbox did? Or do they keep the price, eat the cost, and sell more, and just wait? They got 12 months to wait for GTA to come out. But when GTA comes out, you know they're going to sell a lot more systems. But we'll see. Again, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, let me scroll back up here. Crowd says you've been a screwball to go buy a PlayStation 5. If they raise the prices, just wait for the PlayStation 6 at this point. Yeah, and if you're a person that owns a PlayStation 4 and you're waiting for the price to drop on a PlayStation 5, or you're going to buy a PlayStation 5 to play the new games that came on PlayStation 5, but those games are already over on PC, I would buy a PC. I mean, I am in that situation, right? I don't own a PlayStation 5. And the more I wait, the less I'm going to purchase a PlayStation 5 because I can buy and play their games on my PC through Steam. What's going on, Travis? Waterbear says, but now I see a PC and the multi-platforms. You have PC-only games, PC games, Xbox games, PS Plus, Game Pass, etc., all on one platform, and it looks better. Right. There's a much bigger sell point for PC now because you can get all of these things on that one device. Right? Even if Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, you still can't get PC games on PlayStation, but you can get a PC and play PlayStation games, Xbox games, and somewhat Nintendo games. Sarge says, you guys aren't ready to make a difference. You want to make a difference. Stop buying everything. If you have to Game Pass, keep it. If you have old games, play them. Stop buying everything else completely. What's going on, Stealth? Good morning. Stealth, did you have a good trip when you came to Florida? Right, Water. That's what I mean. Emulators as well. Yeah. Waterbear says, the current and last-gen graphics cards are already 4 years ahead of current consoles. Did you know that? Sarge also says they also can do this because mobile sales are completely eclipsing console sales. They don't care. They're also making billions a quarter. Consoles don't mean dick. You guys are focusing on the wrong problem. Eclipse says, so when do we think that PC day and date are going to happen? You know those monthly active users will be also a lot bigger. I mean, I've said it in the past, Eclipse. I think by the time Wolverine comes out, that will be a day and date. I mean, I don't know if I'm right, but I do feel that they keep pushing that back, and by the time that comes out, they'll be day and date, regardless if it's a first-party title or not. I think they look at this and say, well, we don't have enough sales out there. We need to get the sales. It's a first-party title. Why get 5 million users and then wait 2 years before you get the next 5 million users? Why not just get 5 million users and get the active user up there? Krebsy says, speaking of PC, I read that NVIDIA is increasing their prices by 15%. Well, that's another thing that's going to happen, right? So because of people are going to buy, right? Consoles are going to come out, prices are going to go up, people are going to buy these things. What happens then is the rest of the market looks at this and says, oh, well, people are buying $700 consoles, and then the chips and the graphic cards and all the other motherboards and stuff, they're going to start raising their prices because of the tariffs. Okay. And then when they raise their price of the tariffs, they're going to notice that these people are buying this stuff. So why wouldn't they buy this stuff? And they're going to keep going up in price because people are going to still buy it. They don't need 80% of the market to buy stuff. They just need 10, 15% of the market to buy stuff and to justify going, well, these people bought it for a 15% increase, so we'll take it. Right? Look at microtransactions. Right? Only 20% of the people buy microtransactions, but those 20% of the people are making 80% of the profit. So on, Prosy. The price hike may be a good thing if Xbox makes that hybrid model. Sure, there's a lot, Prosy, that could be. Like I said, when Xbox raised, I think it's the stupidest move ever. But maybe they're playing 4D chess, right? I said make the problem, sell the solution. I think they're pushing people towards PC Game Pass. I think they're pushing people towards Game Pass, day and date type of games. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's a stupid move that Xbox raised their prices. I think it'll be a stupid move for Sony to raise their prices. I think they should stay. Now that Microsoft jumped the gun, I think PlayStation should eat. You've already made your money. You've already made your profit on a lot of the stuff, right? Keep your prices where they are. You'll sell more consoles. Will get people in your ecosystem more over the time, okay? Ghost of Yotei coming out. You got Marathon coming out. You got Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. That's going to sell more systems for PlayStation than Xbox. Rokill says there's no point in waiting because you'll also probably be waiting to 2028 if that's long ass time to wait to get your PlayStation 5 Pro. But people wait 4 to 5 years to switch consoles right now, right? Half of the people that bought a PlayStation 4 are still on PlayStation 4, right? They're still on. They either have a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Slim, PlayStation 4 Pro, right? Whatever it is. They're still on the PlayStation 4. They haven't jumped to PlayStation 5. And if they can wait 4 to 5 years, they can wait longer because they don't care. Roadkill says, 30, you're pushing people to the wrong side. PC is no good. I'm not pushing people anywhere. You buy what you want to buy. I'm saying if you're pushing people up to a $900 console, you're in that price range where you can get a PC. I have PCs. I have consoles. I don't give a shit. Play what you want to play. But don't bitch that you're paying $900 for a console. That's all I'm saying. In 2020, when the PlayStation 5 released, it was also technological, was about 1 to 2 generations behind the PC had. Right. And that gets faster and faster because PC upgrades every single year. Consoles don't. They upgrade 5 to 7 years. Roadkill says, I have a Pro. I buy a lot of games, buy all of the Xbox games I just paid $20 to get Game Pass and play them on my Series X. Right, but why is one better than the other? Right? If anything, comparing those two, you buy a lot of games for your PlayStation and you only pay $20 for Xbox. You got a better deal with Xbox than you do with PlayStation, money-wise. Right? You're playing games where you want to play and how you want to play them, Roadkill. So you have a PlayStation and you have an Xbox. Right? So you paid $500, $700 for the Pro, and you paid $500 for your Xbox. Right? So that's $1,200. That's $1,200 for just the consoles that you purchased. That's a PC. And you can play all those things on the PC. Roadkill says, I straight up $1,000 guaranteed Wolverine, not day and date. I don't have $1,000 to bet with you. Waterbear says, you know why 30? You know exactly why they would also raise their console prices. It's all about being in their ecosystem. They're pushing the hell out of the streaming, a.k.a. Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. Right, but that's why I think PlayStation shouldn't raise their prices. Right? Eat the cost. Eat that to get people in your ecosystem because you'll make more money in the long run. If they're playing PlayStation Plus or if they're buying their first-party titles or third-party titles or spending microtransactions or whatever it is. Roadkill says, because how many PlayStations will they sell with that Wolverine? I bet you they do a third of sales on PlayStation than what Grand Theft Auto 6 brings in for PlayStation. I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will sell more PlayStations than Wolverine will. By triple. So if they only get 2 million sales of PlayStation for Wolverine, they'll get triple that for Grand Theft Auto 6. If they get 10 million for Wolverine, they'll sell triple that for Grand Theft Auto 6 for PlayStation. Crowd says, the only games I'll be buying day one are games like Elden Ring, Night Ring, and also Arc Raiders, $40 to $50. That's it. What's going on, Quintar? This might have already been jumped to PC to many things you can do with a PC. There's too many things you can do with a PC. Dolphin says Wolverine lost the hype because they showed it way too early, and they need to give an update on the development. Well, it got leaked. That's why they showed it, right? They didn't want to show it too early. Waterbear says, say you don't understand technology without saying you understand technology, Travis. Jason says Wolverine had so much of it leaked and the reception for it was not positive. What's going on, Z? Welcome back. Eclipse says Grand Theft Auto 6 will bring in more PlayStation sales than Ghost and Wolverine guaranteed. Oh, 100%. Not even a question, Eclipse. Not even a question. Aku says PC is the same year of the PlayStation 5 release was on average 30 to 50% more performance. That's looking at all cards and CPUs. Z says Wolverine will be more of the same. GTA 6 is the real sandbox. I'm killing you? Do you think Wolverine's going to sell more than Grand Theft Auto? Do you think Wolverine will sell more consoles than Grand Theft Auto 6? Mo says Wolverine had source code snatched, so it ain't coming out till 2027, 2028. They had to do new source code and everything. Not talking about leaks. Yeah, but the reason when the leaks came out, that already kind of like ruined the flavor. You know what I'm saying, Dolphin? It already kind of shit on the game before it was ready to shown. And then when they actually showed stuff, people already had their mind made up and stuff because of the leaks that happened before. How many Spider-Man 1 sold on PC compared to PlayStation? It didn't come out day and date, though. It came out 2 years later. And I believe on PC, didn't it sell like 4 million units? Oh, it came out actually longer than that. It came out like 5 years later, didn't it? It was like 2018 and then what, 2022? I mean, fuck. Call of Duty sold more PlayStations than Wolverine will sell. Right? I'm not saying that Wolverine won't sell. Like, people that already own PlayStation are probably going to buy Wolverine. What you're saying, Roadkill, is do you know how many sales that Wolverine will sell PlayStations? And I'm saying that Grand Theft Auto will sell 10 times or 3 times whatever, right? 3 times whatever they sell for. If 100 people buy a PlayStation for Wolverine, Grand Theft Auto is definitely going to sell more than that. Quintar with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much for that. DTM, Mr. Luke, Jax, Altern, TRM, Stella Rhymes, James Thomas, B Smithy, Melrose Mike, and Tubino all got gifted memberships from Quintar. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. If you think Wolverine's going to sell more than Grand Theft Auto 6 for consoles, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken, right? I'm not saying that Wolverine's not going to sell. I'm just comparing it to the sales of consoles for that game. All right. Aku with the $5 super chat. I played Wolverine. It's a QTE mess. Granted, it was alpha, but the game was not honestly great. For the footage that we saw, I mean, I'm excited. I like Marvel games. I still haven't even played Spider-Man 2 though, right? So when Wolverine comes out, I can wait. I can wait. All right. Let's go to the third topic today, which is going to be a longer thing, right? We've been following Dune Awakening for quite some time now. I know a lot of you guys played it this past beta that came out. We love watching Force Gaming. He kind of gives it, straight up how it is. He's played over 100 hours inside of Dune Awakening. But between the last test and this test, not just this test. So he's giving his honest opinion, honest thoughts about after 100 hours into Dune Awakening. I'm still on the fence. I'll be honest with you. I'm still on the fence about Dune. I heard Co Carnage play it, or watched him play it, and then he gave his thoughts on it and said that if you're a Dune fan, it's actually, there's a lot of lore inside the Dune, but it is also a Dune alternate universe type of thing. They say the combat is a little janky, but overall, the whole experience is very good. So I want to see this, what Force Gaming is going to talk about. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. All right. So let's jump in. Z says, this is a funny vid to listen to. Glad I like PvE the most. Oh, did you watch this already? Did you watch this already, Z? Is Dune full price? I think it's a $50 game. I think it's a $50 game. Yeah. Yeah, Clip says it's 50. Yeah, I think it's $50. All right. Let's, it's a 30-minute video. Let me see if we could put it 1.25 and see if that's too fast. If it's too fast, I'll lower it down.
Dune Awakening has come to a close, and I played a whole heck of a lot of the game. All told, in fact, between the preview event last month and then this most recent beta weekend.
Is that too fast for you guys, or is that okay?
Clocked around 100 hours in total with the game. I enjoy it, clearly, otherwise I wouldn't have played this much. Now, with that in mind, yes, the game sure does have a lot of issues, and those have just become more and more clear to me the more that I have played, and we will be going over those many of those today. But also, it still clearly does enough things that I enjoy right, that have resulted in me playing somewhat obsessively, you could say. So, with all that said, here's the whole...
Sounds normal. Quintar, do you listen to 1.25 a lot? I listen to 1.5, so to me, he sounds a little slow. I cram in videos, man. I actually, if you ever watch my content after the fact, I recommend, because the way I speak, I recommend you put 1.5. Okay? I recommend you put 1.5.
Whole shebang, all my thoughts on Dune Awakening after over 100 hours of playing. I really like this. Game's got a lot of problems. It has a lot of problems. There's a lot of bugs. It's really glitchy. It's really janky in a lot of parts. Melee combat in particular is pretty atrocious. I actually don't think the shooting's that bad. Like, as I've continued to play more and more, I do feel like the shooting is good and responsive. As good and responsive as like an open semi-MMO shared world game is, because there's always some latency.
Robert Jones says, janky survival games are becoming my thing. I mean, it's weird to say. I like jank in some games, and I don't like it in others. If it's like an open world type of game, I'm okay with a little jank. If it's a narrative, single-player, very linear type of game, and there's jank, I don't like it.
Issue with shooting. That's why there's so few. Here's the thing. These games, this genre, this combination of genres just doesn't get made. People don't make these.
Robert Jones says, 30, do you speed up your breakout videos? It feels like 1.25 or 1.5. I don't. So what I do is I take out the dead space. So it feels like I'm speeding it up, Jones. So what I do is I take out all the and okays. I try to. And then any type I pause like that gets taken out. So I break it up. So it's like choppy. It's like jump cuts is what I try to do. Because otherwise it's like a fucking 35-minute long video. And when I take all the gaps of breaks and silence, it takes good like 7 minutes off of it.
World shared like MMO light. I know they're not calling it an MMO and there's only 40 people, but it's an open world where you're gonna see other players running around, fully open, zero loading screens. You're just moving through the entire thing, and it's freaking massive. So anyways, the point is that it's this combinations.
So when you're watching the gameplay, it's gonna feel sped up because I'm watching him at 1.25. So it's gonna look a little weird for the gameplay if you're visually looking at it.
Combinations of elements that I really like, but nobody makes them. Like the last time I played a game that was like this was probably like The Division. And it's I just wish more of these got made. Even with all of its flaws, there's a lot of stuff I actually really like about this game. Like,
do you like the no breaks, like the dead air gone, Jones, or is it weird? I find it okay for me. You know, most people don't watch the whole fucking video anyway. If you put a 7-minute video out, people are watching the first 2 minutes. If you put a 10-minute video out, they watch the first 3 minutes. If you put a 15-minute video out, they're only watching the first 4 or 5 minutes.
Like, it's so freaking, I love the world immersion. And this isn't like a Dune obsession, because I don't really give a shit. Like, I never read the books, and I can read, so it's not for lack of capability. I just never read the books, don't really care about the lore. I skip all the cutscenes, like that's how little of a shit I give about Dune as a franchise. I watched the movie, and it was good. It was a good movie, but I'm not like obsessed with it. I'm like, oh my god, Dune, I better get my cosplay going. Anyways, the point is that they just like the world that they've built here, like layered on top of, yes, the Dune IP, like that is obviously like that is thoroughly in here from what I gather, like from what little I know from seeing the one movie. But it's just like it's such an immersive space, and so I've really enjoyed it. The point of that whole excursion there is that
it's kind of weird though, and again, I haven't played it yet. I haven't played it, right? I know Brain Eclipse has played it, right? So the problem that I have is the same kind of problem I have with Tales of the Shire. They're taking an IP, but it's not really within the world of that game or that world building, right? Like this is Dune, but it's alternate Dune. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, I haven't played it. I'm not a uber Dune fan. I like Dune. Okay, I love the movies. I love the video games back in the past. But it's like you want to make a game about Dune, but you're not putting it in the Dune world. You're putting it in the Dune alternate universe Dune. Which at that point, it's like, should you even use the IP at all?
I've really enjoyed being immersed in this world in spite of all of its flaws. Like, I wish the combat was better. I wish it was less buggy. I wish it was less janky. But the combat is good enough, and the world immersion and exploration and just being in this space is so thoroughly enjoyable to me that I'm pumped for launch and to play with my friends. I think this is gonna be a lot. Every game is more fun with friends, but I think this game in particular, with like a group of friends that I'm planning on playing with, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we're gonna have a really good time. I think there'll be a lot of fun moments. Even if this game were worse than it is, okay? So just like assume things were even worse than they were. There are still so few games like this made that I would still probably want to play it. Open, shared.
I know what he means by that. Right? Like, even if it's a really bad game, there's so few games like this that do it as well. This is why I like Star Wars, Star Wars Galaxies back in the day.
World where you're seeing other people, fully seamless, very immersive as a result of that lack of seams. They just don't, these games don't get made. Nobody makes these games. And I think it's for good reason. I think it's because it's hard. It's hard to do well. It's hard to do even not so well. This game's getting like absolutely lambasted, and I think for a lot of very good reasons. Like I think most of the complaints I've seen are actually very justified. People are very animated about some of the issues.
Quintar, do you think it should be more of like a Fallout 76? And what I mean by that, where it's not like a massive open world, where it's just like a smaller type of niche co-op type of thing?
The game has, which I get it, but yeah, man, like it's got a lot of issues, but it does enough right that I really enjoy, and it's in a genre that I wish more games got made in this genre, but they just don't. The scale of good to bad, I like enough that it tilts the scales in the yes, I like this game. I'll say
so the pros outweigh the cons, it seems like, for him, right? So there's cons,
it is with the cap,
but the pros outweigh the cons, so he's okay with it, and you look past the flaws of it.
Caveat that it's got a lot of issues. I acknowledge those issues, and I agree with those issues, but I still like it enough, and I'm just having fun, dude. I don't know what the fuck else to say. Well,
I have a question, Eclipse. Would you play this, or would you play Valheim, or would you play this, or would you play? I'm trying to think of another. I'm trying to think of another game that came out recently that's like this or Enshrouded. Like, this is online multiplayer online, and Enshrouded's not. But as far as the survival game goes, does this go above and beyond what other survival games are doing? Or is it just like those survival games, but it's better because it's online with other people? Roic says once human. Yeah, like stuff like that. Is it better because it's persistent with other people?
I'm having a really fun time. Even though it's janky as shit, I still really find myself enjoying it. So now, despite the fact that I do like this game overall, like I said, there are a lot of issues. So let's begin by addressing some of those. For starters, there's one of the biggest ones that stick out the most, and that is the combat. Combat any better? It seems clunky still. I mean, it's not changed dramatically since
we said the combat looked clunky in the very beginning when we first saw footage of it.
Last time it's not changed dramatically, and I doubt it will change dramatically. The combat's biggest issue is definitely the melee. That's the worst part about it. I think the shooting feels fine, like serviceable fine. Not the best shooting in the world, but also third-person shooters rarely do have the best feeling, like comparatively anyways, like compared to...
I guess what I'm asking, Salty says it has the formula and it just feels like you're in Dune. Okay, so would you... I'm trying to think of another IP, if it's like Lord of the Rings or whatever else, but Is it good because if you're a Dune guy, you like it because it's Dune? Like, for instance, I love Transformers. If they gave me a Transformers game like this, do I like it more because of the game, the quality of the game, or do I like it more because of the IP that I love?
First-person shooters, like third-person, always tends to feel a little more floaty. But I think it feels fine in this game. Like, there's some decent sounds associated with it, so that gives it a little bit of feedback. But yeah, the melee's pretty rough.
Robert Jones says, watched the video the other day and said a lot of the really fun games are actually bad, but they're fun, right? Does the fun factor outweigh if a game is good or bad? Having fun, doesn't that make the game good? Z says, what sandbox survival third person has great combat? Conan is fun, but lame combat from what I remember. Yeah, a lot of the third person games are lame combat. Eclipse says, yes, it does. It has some of the best quality of life survival mechanics I've ever seen in survival games. Like the reason why I like Pal World, it's because I didn't have to do the survival. This is wanted to do. This I wanted to do in the survival. Got it.
Melee's not.
We already talked about that, Travis.
I think part of the reason is them trying to do this whole
we talked about
heavy
like 2
attacks
weeks
to
ago.
replace
Last
slow
week,
attacks
2 weeks
because
ago.
that's how you bypass shields in the Dune universe. So I get that thematically that's what they went with, but it's also like a slow attack doesn't really feel oomphy because it's not oomph.
Quintar says, fun factor all the way. That's why I like Fallout 76. I don't agree that Fallout 76 came out broke, buggy, and unfinished. But Fallout 76 is a fun game, right? So I'll take the jank. I'll take the stuff because the fun outweighs the pros outweigh the cons with that game.
It's a slow attack. It's slow, like I don't know, yeah, but yeah, melee combat.
But actually, let me put it this way: if Fallout 76 was a single player game and it had as many problems as it did, it wouldn't be as fun. But because you could play with people, it makes the fun factor better. For at least me, for Fallout 76, right? If Fallout 76 was a single player game, it'd be trash. But because it's co-op, because I can play with other people, it makes it much better.
Oh, that's pretty rough. Not great. Do you agree that it looks clunkier than it feels? No, I would say that the melee. I don't think it's not that the melee feels clunky necessarily. It just doesn't feel impactful. The soft lock-on that the game does, like your character will auto face a melee target for like this blocking parry thing. That's a little weird. I think they would actually go a long way if they had a hard lock-on, like a toggle. Like if you hit middle mouse button, you could dead center lock, like
They don't want to do that because if they did that, how would that affect the PvP? Do you know what I mean? Like if you had a lock-on where you hit like tab and it would lock onto the next target, that's a cheat basically if you're playing PvP. So does it like does it not lock on if it's PvP, but it locks on if it's PvE?
action games like Souls games, I think that would actually help it feel a little better, or at least it would feel less loose and floaty. Like it would feel like you'd have more control. Because yeah, there is like a magnetism when you're in melee, when you're engaged with an enemy in melee. There's like a magnetism to you and the person facing you. And it's also weird because of how they have the whole parry system, like you saw. Like me and that guy.
Salty says, I say it's the IP. If that's what carries it, it wasn't Dune. I believe most people would just pass it by, regardless of how solid the survival aspects are. I don't know. I think if it's a good game, like for instance, Pal World doesn't have an IP brand around it, right? And all of a sudden, people jumped on board of it because they really liked it, right? So I don't know. I think Dune has a lot to do with it, but if it was just a really fun survival game that didn't have anything to do with Dune, and it was just really good, I think a lot of people would still pick it up, but it would be more of an indie sell. I think because of the IP, if it doesn't sell well, it could hurt it because they're paying for the license.
They were standing next to each other for like 3 or 4 seconds, and he was just looking at me and not doing anything. But that's because they're trying to allow you to parry so you can do the whole bypass shield thing. But it looks dumb. Like we're both just standing there. I'm facing the opposite direction. He's just standing next to me with a knife, and he's not doing anything for 4 seconds. Like it looks bad. It looks bad. Hopefully they'll have to think about what they can do with combat. You know, and they've said that they're like working on improvements. I don't know to what degree.
Oh, does it have that mechanic Eclipse where you can put the stuff there and then people know like you're building a wall there?
Originally, and then they pushed it back slightly. So we'll see how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah, there is no GXG tonight, guys. There's no GXG tonight. I'm going to a 95th birthday party for my wife's grandmother, so I won't be back in time. So we're just not going to have the show tonight.
it's probably not going to make a huge difference. I have felt like combat has felt a little more responsive since the initial test. Like I played an early preview build some time ago, a month or so ago, and then this beta, it's felt a little...
Yeah, but it's not Pokemon. You see what I'm saying? It's not Pokemon. If it was Pokemon and it didn't succeed, it would bomb because they had the licensing for it. They made a Chinese version of Pokemon, and it's a fun game. And because it's not Pokemon, but it actually has really good mechanics and it has things better than what Pokemon did, that's why people like playing that game.
A little tighter, like a little more fine-tuned than it was back then. Still not great, but a little better. So if they can keep moving in that direction, I think that's good. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. In fact, you know, over the weekend, I think we got like a shining example of one of the many issues with the combat system. The fact that it took a group of streamers at an event that was like promoted by Funcom, it took them no less than a few minutes of PvPing in this game for the very first time to find some major mechanical balance flaws.
So Travis, you're pushed away, but you don't like survival games, right? You're pushed away because of the IP. You don't like Dune, and because this is Dune, you don't want Dune? Or are you overwhelmed because you're like, I don't really read the books, so I don't want to know anything about Dune? I'm just surprised that Dune's lore is so good. Like, you also have to read the books, then you also love this game as a Dune fan. Right. But that's what I'm saying. If a lot of people are, like, pushed away from the game because they're like, oh, Dune, I don't know anything about Dune. I was lost during the movie. Like, not me. But, like, other people, like, and go, I don't know if I want to play a game. But if you're a fan, it's like getting Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy, to me, is a great game. It would be a better game if you could play with your friends, right? But people that are Harry Potter fans would love that game because it's immersive in that world.
It's absolutely freaking hilarious, by the way. I mean, I feel bad for them, right, at the same time. But I don't know if any of you saw, they had that showcase with a bunch of streamers the other day. And they paid, this was a sponsor
I
showcase,
love games
so they
like
paid
this.
these guys money to play the game. And, like, the whole point was like, hey, we're going to show you PvP. And it all devolved within, like, 15 minutes. I think it was even faster. I think it was almost immediately. You know, it was like Shroud and Summit and a bunch of other people. Within a very short period of time, everyone realized if they just kept spamming melee attacks, it was perma-stunning their targets. They were not running out of stamina themselves. Their targets were staying permanently drained, and so the PvP was...
They already found a hack in the game during the test. I mean, that's why they test. That's why they test.
Just this. Like, this was it. And unless a third party came and interrupted the person doing this slashing, the target of said slashing was just completely fucked. They couldn't do anything. They just sat there, kept getting staggered. And this was supposed to be their big event where they're like, hey guys, check out our PvP. And it just looked like a total mess. They had addressed it too. Like, well,
no, that makes sense, Travis. That makes sense. You're just not a fan of the IP, right? That's why I said if this was like a Transformers game, I'd be all over it, right? But Dune, I'm like, I don't know. Do I have time for this? Do I want to put this in? You know what I mean?
This was all happening. They said, hey guys, look, we know
That's
this is
true,
a problem.
Jones. Nothing like, this is why we always start off over again in like Minecraft and whatnot. A fresh world in a survival game is the best.
We have it, it's already fixed in a current build. This build's a little older, which, you know, that is always technically true because they get build version updates constantly, daily, as far as I'm aware. Maybe not quite that frequently, but there are constantly build updates happening when a game is in development progress. And they always ever push out the playable build is the one that's the currently most stable version. So I believe them that there's a more updated version because that's just how kind of things work in game development. Like, I don't doubt that that's the fact. But what I'm so perplexed by is we know that they are doing...
Salty says, myself, I'm not a Dune mega fan. But the movies interest me. Oh, let me get that. Interest me in the world and also have been IP attached. I personally wouldn't be interested at all. Hadn't have an IP attached, I mean. So if the IP of Dune wasn't here, you wouldn't be interested in this game at all. It's very generic for you then. But because the Dune IP is there, you're intrigued by it and you're ready to jump in.
Doing internal testing for this game, okay? Like there has been an ongoing closed test where they have full reign of the game in its current state, and they also have the end game and they're testing the PvP. How at no point did anyone realize and express in that testing? I would understand if this was some strange interaction, if it was a combination of like a skill tree talent and gear, and then some particular circumstances that resulted in a permastun. But the fact that the permastun came by simply spamming basic attack with a dagger, basic attack spam, like I don't understand. I don't understand how that did not surface and get addressed prior to that event. And you know, even assuming that they addressed this issue correctly in time prior to launch, and I will assume that they will, even with that in mind, I still think that the endgame PvP may very likely just evolve into the typical scenario.
He says endgame PvP. Is there not PvP up until that point? Right? Do you flag? I'm asking, by the way. Do you flag in to opt into PvP, or is it like zones where you walk in and it's PvP zones? There's PvP areas. Okay.
Scenario that you see in these kind of games. I mean, if we're being perfectly honest, the deep desert is apparently going to be hundreds, upwards of a couple of thousand people. PvP will be a numbers game, like it almost always is in these games. The people who have, if you have 10...
Is there things in the zones that you can get in other places, Salty, or you only can get the materials that you need in those zones? What is the factor of doing PvP? Is there a way as a PvE player you can get the materials somewhere else, or you only can get the materials in PvP? The deep desert is always PvP, always. There are ships that will also fall down in the big areas, and if you go to those areas, they're PvP. Okay, so is there no way to get those materials except from those ships? Obviously, I understand if you can get the materials elsewhere than the ships, then no one would ever go play PvP. I get that. But a person that doesn't want to play PvP, is there a way for them to get those materials? You just get unique items that you can also build, but you don't need them. So it's only for building stuff? You get good unique items in the PvE area too. Is it different unique items or the same unique items? Like, is it harder to reach? Let me see if I can explain myself, right? Obviously, if a ship falls and I go in there, let's say it takes 15 minutes to get in there, fight people, and then get the loot to get those unique items. Or I'm playing in PvE, okay, and I have to go to a high mountain or go through some boss fight or harder enemies to get to the package. You know what I mean? Where it's almost the same time frame. So if it takes 15 minutes or 20 minutes to get the stuff from the down ship, it'll also take 15 or 20 minutes to get in the PvE zone as well. Kind of sounds like the Division of Dark Zone. They said you don't need to PvP to enjoy the entire game. Okay. All right.
Players, and you're up against people, a group of 20 players. Unless they have their monitors turned off, you're likely to lose. I mean, it's still a shooting game, right? So, like, getting headshots, you can certainly outplay people, no questions. But if the number disparity becomes large enough, it becomes unwinnable. I'll be curious to see how it goes. But also, because it's a shooting game, there's going to be a lot more high a probability that more people means performance is worse. There's more server issues, the more people in a space. And so maybe it doesn't matter how good at shooting you are if you have all sorts of, if you're at like 200 fucking MS or 300 MS.
Like, can I... This is all I want to do in this game, right? If me and Eclipse and Sarge were playing this game and we could be a 3-man crew going into PvE areas and then building a base and building together and doing a lot of stuff, I'm all in. I'm all in, right? If it's we have to be a part of a clan and you got to go get to the PvP zones and you got to do all this stuff, I'm like, eh.
Latency, if they're having a bunch of server issues that make response time super long, the numbers will win again.
You can do that? Okay.
Headshots are. Like, we'll just see. That's how it usually pans out. Maybe it doesn't pan out that way this time. And I'd like to add here as well, while we're on the topic of PvP, that I do really wish they structured the PvP experiences prior to endgame a bit differently than what they decided to implement. Because as it is right now, I can tell you from my experience of playing for over 100 hours, I just feel like most people just won't encounter PvP at all prior to getting to the end game. So it's going to be predominant for most people. I really think it's going to be predominantly a PvE game for the first 150 to 100 hours.
He just sold me. He just sold me on that. Right? PvE. If I probably won't even put 100 hours in this game. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe you get in a couple of PvP encounters, but that's a big maybe. And then they get to endgame and all of a sudden it flips and the game is entirely PvP. I really wish they had found a better way to present it.
See, I don't want PvP at all. I don't want PvP at all. But it is a flaw in the game if you're playing PvE the entire time and then the whole thing at the end is PvP, because at that point you're going to have a massive drop off because people don't want to play the PvP aspect of it. Then you're going to have the hardcore people that do like PvP. They're going to grind through the PvE just to get the PvP.
Here's why. Yeah, no, so, and you not experiencing PvP, that's another, like, gripe of mine, or just something that I wish were a little different. Because right now, the PvP is exclusive to the shipwrecks, and there's one, I haven't revealed the map on this character yet, but there's one down here, and then there's two.
Mo says, I have a question. Do we have only solo players here and in the Discord? What do you mean only solo players? Like playing this particular game, Mo?
In the western and eastern Himalayas Gap, and it's exclusive to those areas prior to the deep desert, which is supposedly going to take somewhere between 50 and 100 hours before players can get to. Prior to that, you're only ever going to see PvP in these very confined areas, those shipwrecks. And so I think the result of that is probably you're just almost never going to see PvP. And I say that because we are currently playing in 3 of a total of 12 zones that are in Haga Basin, and that entire play space has a rough cap, they've said, of 40 people. Now, as is, even when
Oh, so it is sort of like a Fallout 76, where each of the servers only have a certain amount of people. You're constantly going through, but that basin only has 40 people in it. Fallout 76 has, I think, 24 or 30.
When everybody on the server is confined currently to just these 3 zones, as is, I've played like 100 hours and I've gone into shipwrecks probably over 100 times total. I've seen a person maybe twice. Like, it's just been a very rare occurrence. That has.
But that's also, you're playing in early access. And so if he gets the ship stuff, you're probably going to have a different experience when you play it when it's launched to when it is now.
Me wondering, man, once the game is fully unlocked and all 40 people on a server, you're never going to see anybody in a shipwreck. You're barely going to see anybody in the PvE. The point of that is, though, I feel like PvP is just never going to happen for most people prior to arriving in the deep desert, where then it becomes like PvP is mostly what you're doing. And I think that's kind of a shame. Like, I think, honestly, forget the shipwreck shit. What I probably would have liked is, so if we have like 12 zones in total, I would wish they almost did something like they did with the original Division, where you just have a zone or 2 that's just full PvP in those areas. If you want a PvP, you can go there. If you don't want a PvP, you can avoid it. But having it confined to the shipwrecks with how spread out everything already is, it just seems like PvP is just not going to happen for a lot of people. I don't know if during this test, if they actually have the 40.
See, I don't know. Is he complaining? Is he complaining that there's not PvP? I'm going to rewind for a second. Is he complaining that people that are looking for PvP is not going to happen? So if you're a PvP player, it's going to be a lackluster event for you?
Shit. What I probably would have liked is, so if we have like 12 zones in total, I would wish they almost did something like they did with the original Division, where you just have a zone or 2 that's just full PvP in those areas. If you want a PvP, you can go there. If you don't want a PvP, you can avoid it. But having it confined to the shipwrecks with how spread out everything already is, it just seems like PvP is just not going to happen for a lot of people. I don't know if during this test, if they actually have the 40-player cap in place, or because it was restricted to 3 zones, if they reduced that cap to like 15 people or something, some smaller number, so that 40 people weren't all crowded in these first 3 zones. I actually think there's a fair chance that is the case. Like, even during peak times, I very rarely see people. And I would like to see people more. It doesn't need to be 100 people on screen. I'm not married to that.
See, I like playing multiplayer games. I like playing co-op games with you guys. Every time I try to play a co-op game with somebody, most of the time you guys are playing different games or whatnot. But, like, for instance, this is why I dedicate a Tuesday to play with Hilly on Dragon Wilds, because I like playing games like that with people. I like playing Towerborn or 33 Immortals, or even when we played the first Descendant, right? I like games like that, Borderlands. I like playing games more like that than single-player games right now, because single-player games are fun, but more fun comes when playing with friends.
Idea, they stopped calling it MMO partially for that reason, like player count stuff. I'd love to see more than like a player every 2 hours, which is how it's been. And I played at all times. Like, I basically played nonstop. All right, next we've got the IP that this game is structured around. This is a Dune game, and that is both a pro in a lot of ways, but it's also a con in some of the limitations that it's going to present for this game. Honestly, probably one of my larger long-term concerns for this game is how strictly they're going to feel the need and or be required to stick to the Dune, like, lore accurate shit. Because I think even just in enemy variety, that could be a major thing that kind of holds the game back.
Right, because it's part of the Dune and it's an alternate universe of Dune, depending, and Sarge just saying in chat right now, I don't see the staying power of this game. It might do well for a time, but there's too many games for this game to have a long-term engagement. I think you can say that with any game that's multiplayer, Sarge. I think the problem with Dune, which I think he's about to say, is if they stay true to Dune's story base or lore, what can they add to this? Now, obviously, it's an alternate universe, so they can like add stuff and loosely base it on the Dune mythology and whatnot. But how do you keep this going? What type of events do you bring in, right? Like during the Christmas time, or do you bring in Christmas event during this MMO? You know what I'm saying? Where that's not part of this culture or this lore of type of stuff, where you're doing it for the world, and there's like cosmetic things that come in. Like, how do you continue doing this where if it wasn't a Dune IP, you could just do whatever you want type of stuff?
Back a little bit, and maybe that's just part of the reason that the end game isn't like entirely focused right now. There's no raids, right? It's all PvP. Like, once you're done the survival crafting progression and you get to the current cap of the last tier of gear and whatever.
Like, here, perfect example. right? Dune Awakening does a team up with Star Wars. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they do something like that, people will be like, I'm out. I'm out. Like, you can't do it with a game like this, right? It can't be like a Call of Duty or Fortnite where you're bringing in cosmetics from different things and doing different things like that.
You're PvPing. You're not like doing raids. You're not fighting giant monsters because it's Dune. Maybe eventually, I'm sure it's going to happen at some point, there will be a fight against a sandworm boss, but it's not happening yet. And yeah, they're pretty limited because it's Dune. They're pretty limited in like what it is you're fighting. So maybe for that reason, it will never really be more than just a PvP focused game at the end. Because what else can they do? They can't, like, they're not monsters or some shit or robots that they're going to have you be fighting. I will say though, I think that probably one of the biggest issues they're going to run into is being associated with the Dune IP and whatever parameters they have to stick within because of that. I think that's going to, I mean, it's going to limit things, right? So it's going to limit like their biome diversity, enemy
100%.
diversity. Like we're always fighting humanoids, right?
Always fighting humanoids. Always have sand. Look at this sand world. This sand part and this sand part.
And I think we're always going to be fighting humanoids. I don't think we will ever not be fighting humanoids, barring maybe we get like a raid against a sandworm one day. It's only going to get so diverse in terms of the types of enemies and the types of encounters you'll see. Maybe with machinery and some Bene Gesserit bullshit, you know, because it's kind of like magic. Maybe they can pull in some more interesting stuff with those.
The problem with Dune, it's about factions. It's about different things, political type of stuff. And when you build it like this and you're not including any of that, it kind of just falls flat there.
Those elements. Although, you know, I played in really...
Like even New World, right? New World, you're taking over territories and have different things that are happening. I don't know if that's in this game or if they have plans to put that in this game.
Like the Division, and all I ever fought was humanoids and some like tanks or some bullshit, so maybe it doesn't matter that much. Now, as for the technical side of this game, I will say that like performance has been mostly fine, barring a few occasional server hiccups that have happened here and there. Really, the big technical issue are the bugs and the glitches. There are still a lot of them, and we're still seeing them on a regular basis. All you really need is the Shikawara kit. I mean, all you really need is climbing. All this is like, what the hell? What is happening, dude?
Well, that's netcode and stuff,
I don't know why in this final day it's been like extra janky.
That's the server issue.
All of a sudden, it's had some weird server issues. Maybe because they're letting more people in? Not a great sign. There were bugs that were present prior that I've not experienced since coming back. That is accurate. I've also seen other bugs that I didn't see before that are now here. So the game is still buggy. I would anticipate it will remain buggy. That it's something that hopefully they continue to work on over time, but I don't expect it to ever be bug-free. And so for all...
I mean, there would kind of have to be, Quintar. You know what I mean? They could be putting more plant-side fight for regions. I mean, the territory is very key. I don't know. It just seems a little weird. I don't know what they're going to do.
For these reasons and more, I think there's a really good chance that the reception to this game when it comes out in a couple of weeks probably isn't going to be representative of how much I personally enjoy it. Let's just put it that way.
It makes sense,
Seems like
Travis.
a lot of people really didn't like it, like just from impressions that I've been seeing online. And I'm not terribly surprised. I think there will be people who really enjoy it, like me, for the reasons and whatever other reasons that I enjoy it. But I think there are also going to similarly, probably an equal number of people who think it's like...
Yeah, but that's for anything, right? That's for anything. I like going left. I really enjoy going right. You know what I mean? Like it
garbage, like total trash garbage. And they'll have a list of reasons, and those reasons will all be accurate and justifiable, because I agree with a lot of the flaws that the game has that people point out. I think really the biggest thing is just it serves a type of game experience that is very rare. Those open world, shared PvP, full of...
Look, if they came out with Star Wars Galaxies 2, and it was exactly like Star Wars Galaxies back in the day in 2003, but with better graphics, I'm in. I'm in because of Star Wars. Star Wars solely would... I wouldn't care if the game was bad mechanics, bad fighting. I'd be like, dude, I'm living in my Star Wars fantasy in the world.
Open world, no loading screens, looter shooter, like this.
Quintar says, I like gaming, and this is a game.
Very, very, very few of these kinds of games, and I really like them. I wish more got made. Right? If memory serves, I'm pretty certain initially their plan was to release in early access, but then they opted out of it. I'm pretty sure that it was originally supposed to be early access, though. So maybe...
I think in this day and age, I think it's a mistake they don't do early access now. Early access, cheaper price. Instead of now you're going to put this game out at your full price, which is $50, but if it comes out and it's still broke, buggy, and unfinished, you're going to have a little bit of issues if it comes out and it's out.
If the franchise saw like they didn't like the typical association with early access games. But I don't know if that's like, if your game's unfinished, you should just do early access. Like, I don't know if it's better. I don't know if it's a better solution to try to ditch the stigma of early access, but then launch your game having it still feel like it's early access. All right, now with all of that in mind, with all of that said, all of those cons thoroughly discussed, I still enjoy the game. I still really had a fun time. I played for 100 hours, and I'm still very much so excited and looking forward to launch. So why is that? Well, I think one of the first things I want to talk about is the fact that even though melee combat is lackluster and the shooting is just like average, I would say, it's decent. I will say that as you progress and as you start to unlock things, more weapons, different weapons, additional movement skills, and different offensive skills, active abilities, the overall combat flow goes from feeling like really weak to actually being quite enjoyable. Here's what I mean. There's normally people down here unless another player's cleared it. No, it doesn't look
Like you
it.
feel like you're getting more powerful as you go. Well, that's cool, like a little turret. It almost kind of reminds me of like a Division type of thing, but it's set in the Dune universe.
Yeah, so like that little segment there, that little process of coming in and clearing out these 5 or 6 enemies, that is the part of the combat that I really enjoy. Like when you get in these engagements and you're using multiple tools and you're positioning, you're line of sighting their attacks and kind of hobbling around and throwing a grenade, or in my case, the seeker missile, like that shit is fun. It's just like the whole one-on-one melee combat that's pretty janky. Like that is...
Yeah, I don't know if I would do a lot of melee. Soulframe was really good at the melee. This, I wouldn't do melee in. I would shoot guns.
That's what most people are complaining about, and I think rightfully so. Because yeah, the game starts you out with just that, and it kind of feels kind of lame. But it gets a lot better, and then you add in like the movement with you once you get the sugar wire cable plus the suspensor belt, and you can kind of be zipping around levels and shit on top of all that. There are points in which the combat starts to click a bit more, but it just starts out like abysmally slow. And that plus the fact that the combat has like 0 impact to it. Yeah, I mean it's not great. But coming in and clearing out rooms like this, like I really like it. That timing was perfect with that nade popping off. There's someone else?
I mean, it really does feel like Division.
Not anymore. Also in the pros, sort of similar to the combat conversation, is the movement. Like after the first few hours, once you progress and unlock more things, the movement goes from feeling kind of crappy to all of a sudden feeling pretty good. It flips on its head. All of a sudden, the movement in this game, all it takes is the sugar wire cable and a suspensor belt, and then all of a sudden this game has like amazing movement. It's so funny because I think most people who probably played the beta weekend never got to this point. I feel like they should give this to you within the first
you could swap
hour.
shoulders.
I feel like they should present you with this setup because moving around the environment becomes so much more enjoyable and interesting once you have these two. And the game uses momentum as well. So if you get if you get like a big speed boost and get a lot of momentum going, you can just go fucking flying.
Oh,
like,
see,
you can
that's
soar.
cool.
It's absolutely ridiculous at times. It's really fun. The movement in this game goes from feeling like shit to feeling awesome once you get this. And over the course of all of this time that I've spent playing the game, one memory keeps cropping up for me, and that is my time and experience with The Division. There are elements of playing this game that really, really remind me of that experience, about the parts of that game that I really liked. It reminds me a lot, the experience of playing it, not necessarily the exact elements of the game, but the totality of the experience of playing it reminds me a lot of what I enjoyed about The Division, the first game. There's a chance if you like that game.
There you go. So he actually says it's like The Division. Reminds me of The Division. 100%.
That there are elements of this that you would also like similarly. And specifically I'm talking like it's a third-person shooter at its core. It's a looter shooter in a lot of ways. It's got those light MMO elements where you'll see other players running around. But then they also have the level of survival mechanics on top, crafting and building bases and shit, which is cool. And actually,
which I really actually liked in Division 1. The survival mechanic in the snow, I love that mode. That was one of my favorite modes inside of The Division.
It's funny because I was thinking about this as well because I kept drawing the Division comparison. And then I was like, well, how is melee in Division? It fucking didn't exist, dude. You like elbowed people. Like the melee.
Yeah, you just did the... That's it.
In Division was dog shit. It's literally just like you have your gun and then you just elbow people. Like that's the extent of it. But you know, despite my love for Division, I know it's not like the biggest franchise, so I certainly didn't click with everybody. But I fucking loved it. And one of the things that this game definitely does the best, like without question, I cannot knock them at all for this. It is the world building and the immersion, building upon that Dune IP, which I personally have no.
Eclipse said this. Eclipse said this the other day. He said he loves the world building and lore inside for the Dune.
Pre-existing love for, but how they presented this world and the structures and the things that they've done within it, it's just so immersive. I love spending time in this game. Atmosphere's through the roof. Like, it's super atmospheric, especially at night. You got those ships coming by, you got the fucking sandworm like chasing people, erupting from the dunes. As things progress, you start to see crashing ships falling from the sky, and you can go to those ships and harvest them for some high-end resources. I can't say enough about how having one seamless world.
What's the minimum requirement? I'll have to look it up
or
on
hidden loading
Steam.
screens, however the game technically does it. I can't say enough for what a difference that makes into the immersiveness of the experience. Even the fact that this game doesn't have fast travel is a selling point for me, because it makes the world more immersive. Like, you actually have to traverse the landscape, and that's a balancing act that developers have to make if they choose to go that route in their game design. But if done right, I think it adds so much to the experience. If done wrong, it feels like a massive chore, and that's also subjective. So for some people, it'll be a massive chore. Some people will love it. Yeah, when it's done right, it's like a huge selling point for me in games, especially like looter games like this with like other people. Like, it just, oh man, it's great. I love it. Nailed the atmosphere. Oh my god, yeah. It's like 50% of the reason I enjoy this game is because the atmosphere. It's so good. It's so fun to just go around. And would it be great if combat was better and there was less jank? Of course, because the range combat is good enough for a third-person shooter. And I nailed the atmosphere, and I like going around doing the survival.
I mean, I am being sold more on this.
Sufficient for me. Like, I'm really enjoying it. And as I mentioned earlier, on average, the performance has been mostly good for me. Like, how it runs on my system has been good. Looks like it's running well on your PC. Yeah, I don't really have any major issues with
yeah, but the
game
difference
performance-wise.
there, Water, is that Soulframe is free to play. This is $50, right? Soulframe was really fun. The couple hours I played it, I really enjoyed it.
Big exception is when the sandstorms roll in. Speaking of which, where the hell has the sandstorm been? I feel like it usually happens at least once an hour, and I swear we've not had one in the 2.5 hours we've been streaming. Maybe they tuned it back. Actually, I think there's a real possibility they changed the amount of spawns for that. Because yes, I would almost always have some level of performance drop when the sandstorms came through. But they're the coolest shit. So like, I want them to keep happening. I don't want them to diminish them or get rid of them. Hopefully they can fix whatever issue was causing, if that's in fact a universal problem and not just a me problem. One other thing that I just love about this game is with a lot of its dynamic systems and events that can occur, just some of the cool and oftentimes hilarious moments that crop up while you're playing the game. Here's a great example. You usually want to pick the shortest point in traveling the dunes, and I just did this diagonal path.
It goes a little bit more than would I spend $50 on this right now. My PC, if I wasn't streaming, I could play this game. If I want to stream this game, I don't know if my computer would run it and stream it. So at the at a decent setting. So I would say that it's not worth it for me right now for $50. But if I had the machine to run it while I would say, yeah, I would. I think I would put enough time in. And with a survival game like this, I would 100% put 50 to 100 hours in this game. No problem. That would be my main game for like the next month or so. Online, offline, I would put a lot of time into it. But now you're throwing in, do I get this or do I get Soulframe? And I wasn't interested in Soulframe, but now Soulframe is free. I'm like, I'll jump in and play that a little bit. Maybe I'm going to put 10 hours in. But the process of jumping into a game that's free to play compared to a game that's $50, $50 is $50. I'm going to try the free to play game first.
Path across this huge swath that would have been better like go across there and then run beeline. I'm really afraid what's going to happen is this fucking ship is going to lock me down, and then the same Eclipse. I
could put 50 hours into it.
Like, I'm just praying to God that they don't have some algorithm here that says, okay, well, if there's a person running within whatever diameter of this ship, get that spotlight to that. I mean, we're moving in the same fucking direction too. I'm completely doomed, I think. Can't you just shuffle? That's not a thing in this game. I'm guessing they tried to make it work, but then look at it. Here it is. I fucking did it. And there's the fucking worm. God damn it, dude. Unbelievable. I knew this was gonna happen. Please, for the love of God. Okay, I'm good. So, the good... my fucking God, dude. And then lastly, in the pros category, and probably most importantly of all, is just the fact that I just have a plain old good time. When I play this game, I am having fun. Plain and simple. And that's one of the other things too, is like some people, like you'll get comments like, this game is bad for this, and this reason. And like, I can see that list, and I can acknowledge that list, and I can agree with that list. Not even just like tacitly say like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, I get it. I can be like, no, yeah, that's right. So then why are you playing it? I have fun while I'm playing it. But what about this bullet point list? I mean, yeah, that's all true. Yeah, that thing and that thing.
Why are you having fun playing this game that you want to play? Tell me, why are you having fun? It's like, because I'm having fun. Right? Like, I played I played 1,000 hours of Marvel's Avengers. Anyone that saw me play that game when I was Hulk, or any of the characters, but mostly Hulk, I had a smile from ear to ear, man. I was having fun. I could look past the problems with the game because fun was bigger than the problems.
Thing, yeah, no, that's all right, but I still have fun playing it. Well, what the fuck? And it's like, I don't know, dude. I think sometimes like the site gets lost that we're playing video games. Its whole point for existing is to bring us entertainment. And so if it delivers that, like if I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. Point, end of period. like end
Right.
of sentence, whatever. All right, so with all of that said,
I can have a good time with a bad product. I'm not going to defend the problems in the game. I'll be like, yeah, it's got problems in the game. But I'm having fun. There's something about the game that makes it fun. That's hooked me.
is it worth it? What do I think about this game to put a bow on the whole thing? Is it worth it $50 content-wise or too early to tell? I mean, I can't really tell you because we've only had access to the first 3 zones. It also, like, some people it doesn't matter. Like, they hated the first zone. They're not interested in what the second, third, fourth, all the way up to the 12th zone.
I want to know if... Okay. Being a Star Wars Galaxy fan, they talked about Star Wars Galaxies in the past. It would be very interesting if they added a faction-based type of thing here. Like, obviously, I could build a base next to your base, but there's, like, segments that you can't build too close to me. I remember them talking about stuff like that. In Star Wars Galaxies, if I built a house, and then someone else built a house by me, and then someone else built a house towards me, you can make that a spaceport. You can make that a village. You can make that a society. And within that society, you could start having politicians. You could start having people that ran the town and had events and different things. So you were like living a world within the world of Star Wars. I wonder if down the road, if they're going to do something along the lines of that, where if I build a house and someone builds a house near me, and all of a sudden we become a neighborhood, and then we become a small village, and then we become like a city. You know what I'm saying? Because that builds up. Now, obviously, that would be a persistent server and whatnot. But that would be very interesting if they did something along the lines of that. Now, I don't know what they're doing on the server side, but that would be cool.
Have, let alone the deep desert. I enjoy spending time in this game and going around and clearing points of interest, and I like playing, I like exploring. It's been fun. Do you like survival games? Are you okay with the game being janky and buggy, or does it need to be
YouTube,
free
guys,
of any flaws in that respect?
So make sure you
just so you're striking out here because this game has lots of bugs, pretty janky, melee combat's pretty bad. Shooting is fine. It's good enough that I enjoy it, that I enjoy playing it. Yeah, do you like survival games? Do you like that loop? Because that's what this is. Like, if you're hoping for like a narrative adventure, like there is some narrative, but it's far from the focus and really takes a backseat to just like being a straight up survival game. Yeah, I don't know. It's got a lot of issues, but I enjoy enough of it, and it's also like a genre of game that just like nobody makes. Risk of repeating myself for the umpteenth time. It's a lot like The Division in what I like about it, in that the world is really immersive. It's an open world, third-person shooter, looter game where there's other people inhabiting this play space, so you'll come across them occasionally.
Yeah,
and
but if you build your base,
like no fast
salty,
travel,
you can
no
get covered up if you build in the wrong
no
spots.
And
but if you build up high enough, you can have a village,
really
a city off the
space
side
that
of a
I
mountain
enjoy,
if you want to. You know what I mean?
It's a shame that it's got as many issues as it does, and that combat wasn't a little bit better, melee especially. Like I've said, shooting is fine, but melee is definitely really rough. But I don't know, just nobody, like, do you have any alternatives for open world third-person looter shooter survival game? Fully open world, massive, seamless, no loading screens, like with other people running around in a shared space? Like, there's just not a lot of these. Like, nobody makes these games, and I really wish there were more of them on the market. But I really like it overall. Like, it's got a lot of issues, and a lot of people are gonna hate it. Like I said earlier, I fully suspect this game is probably gonna launch to a mixed rating on Steam. That's literally my expectation. But I think I'm still gonna have a hell of a fun time with my friends.
I think my only concern,
and that pretty much covers it. My thoughts on.
I think my only concern with this game is that when it comes out next month, right? It comes out, is it June or July? When it comes out next month, it won't be complete. It's not going to be a complete game, which I feel like is detrimental. I can't even say the word. Detrimental? Jesus Christ, that's not it. Anyway, first impressions are everything. If it comes out and it's not complete when it comes out, it might as well be in early access. You know what I mean?
The game, what I like, what I dislike, and just overall my general impressions and my expectations for the future. That's about everything. Those are my thoughts on Dune Awakening after 100 hours of playing. I wish it had less cons. The cons exist. I agree with most of the negatives that people discuss about this game, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot of them in the comments as well, talking about why the game is bad, why the combat is bad, why there's nothing to do.
Thank you, Salty.
there's only sand on this game. I mean, it is a Dune game, so I don't know what else people expected. I think the desert testing stations add a little bit of variety. I would like to see them add more, but I will agree there is a lot of repetition in it. But as I've covered ad nauseum here in this video, there are a lot of things that it just checks the right boxes for me personally. And a lot of the things that I loved about The Division, the world immersion, the open world, the fully seamless, and the lack of loading screens, the lack of fast travel, and the immersiveness that those things bring, I really dig it. And I'm so excited to play this game at release, even acknowledging for, accounting for, and addressing all of the things that it doesn't do well at all, and the points in which it's lacking. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the vid, and that does it for today. I'll see you all in the next one, all right? Take it easy.
All right, so here's the thing, right? So, the amount of, man, I just hope it comes out and it's complete. Now, I know they wanted to bring it out to console as well, but it's only going to be on PC when it launches, correct? It's not coming to console the first year. I would assume they're doing a test, basically, right? They're doing a test of see how it performs on PC, if it's popular, and if it's popular, then they'll continue making the console version. But there's no console version. It's only on PC. Well, the problem is the $50 is cheaper. Congratulations, it's not an $80 video game. But that $50 is still an issue, I think, with a lot of people if the game comes out and it's not complete. If it comes out June 10th, you guys said, I think they opted out for not having an early access, which in this day and age for a game like this, I think you got to do early access because you're not going to have all the game inside the game when it comes out next month. And because of that, lower the price. Have a price point, $30, $35 early access price point, okay? The game's going to come out. It's not going to be complete. You're going to update stuff. You're going to fix stuff along the way. And then once that passes, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 9 months, maybe it's a year, because that's going to happen anyway. Then, and only then, say full release, $50. If you want it early, you can help us out by paying a lower price. More people might buy it. You might get a couple of million people buy it at the lower price point. But that's also giving goodwill to the people. Hey, you're coming in early access. We're going to fix things and build things, and you know that. That's like the cheaper price point. But if you come out at $50, sure, that's cheaper than $60. Sure, that's cheaper than $70. Sure, that's cheaper than $80. But if the game comes out and you're doing the exact same thing for the $50 price point, but it's not a complete game when it comes out, I think you're going to lose a lot of people. I think people are going to look at it and go, I don't really think I want to play this game right now. There's a lot of issues. And he just said there's a lot of issues. He played 100 hours with multiple tests across the thing, and I don't think that's going to get all fixed in less than a month's time. But that's just my thoughts. Z says, I'll wait for this. Play it. I want to play it very much. That's Funcom. Funcom has never had a complete game at launch. And you're paying $50 though. I do see 50 as too much for what a game offers. Yeah, I don't know. That statement though, Eclipse, Funcom has never had a complete game at launch. That stops me from playing it. You know? There's a lot of other games that are cheaper, same price, that are complete. I don't think it has to have a massive population. Obviously, it made its money. Like, Conan's been out for years and years. Like, what did Conan have? I mean, I remember playing Conan on console. What is Conan's called again? It's just Conan. What's the actual title? Exiles. That's it. Conan Exiles. I mean, it's been out for 8 years. 8 years. Yeah. So, here. So on Steam, it's 53,000 peak, 8,500 now. So it's more than Assassin's Creed Shadows. Okay, 8 years in the making. Okay, and owner estimation is about 5 million to 3 million. So about 4.5 million. We'll say 4.25 million. Let's just say, just on console. I think with a game like that, with those sales, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal for that type of game. Right? I played it on console. So add another additional, I don't know, $500,000 to $1 million on consoles. So you're talking about 5.5, 6 million people playing that game over the years of 8 years. They made their money. Altern says you could play a Shrouded right now with like 6 zones filled with stuff and loot for $25 to $30. Right. And it was an early access, right? It's still an early access? Yeah, it's cheaper than Dune. The only reason I would play Dune over a Shrouded is just because of the co-op. Still in early access, right? So you're gaining the goodwill for it, right? You're gaining goodwill for it because you're like, hey, we're still in early access, $25, $30, and we're working on the game. Dune's going to come out. They're still going to be working on the game, and you're paying $50. Same, Power World. Right? You can play Power World on Game Pass, or you can pay it for $25 over on PC. Travis says, not trying to be rude, 30. Why would it be rude? There's millions and millions, hundreds of millions of gamers out there, right? Just remember, no matter what game you like or don't like, you're the minority of the people. The only game I can say maybe the majority is like a Grand Theft Auto, right? If there's 1 billion people playing video games and they sold 300 million units, you are still the minority of the people that didn't buy it. You see what I'm saying? There's always niches for each of the things, bigger, smaller, okay? So if a game like this, again, we don't know the cost of it, but let's say it only cost them 50 million to make, they don't have to sell 10 million units. The Dune game is competing against other survivals. Yeah, it's competing against any other survival game that people like survival games, but a lot of people that like survival games own multiple survival games. As Robert Jones said in the beginning of the video when we were watching it, said, nothing beats a fresh start in a survival game. Just something about it. Right? And what's even better than starting fresh in a survival game, in your game that you already own, is starting fresh in a survival game that you don't own. Change of scenery. I hate survival games, but I keep buying them. Yeah, something about them. Just something about them. Fair point. Fair enough. But point is, there's so many big games coming out. This game, I think, is at the insanely niche market. There's always going to be large games coming out, right? It's almost like, you know, when people say, "Oh, it's not a good time to break up with somebody." Oh, you don't want to break up with them during Halloween. That's a bad. You don't want to break up with them during Thanksgiving. You don't want to break up with them during Christmas. You got to wait till, but then you have Valentine's Day. Oh, then their birthday comes up. It's never a good time to break up with somebody. Well, when do you release your game? When do you release your game? When is a good time to release your game? Do you release a game because there's another big game coming out? Like, it is what it is. There's a market out there for everybody. You just got to find and market your game towards those people. This is already got a baked-in market, okay, because it's Dune. So anyone that likes Dune, you might like this game. Right? That's just what it is. Then the people that like survival games might like this game as well. Right. They should release May 26, 2026. It's not coming out to console anytime soon. It's PC only first, Roadkill. Survival games are already a niche, like big time. I think Rust is like the most popular survival game. Well, wouldn't it be Minecraft? Minecraft is the biggest survival game. Right, Kingmaker comes out. That's just a fun shoot 'em up game being in medieval. You know what I mean? Here's a good point. Is Kingmakers $50 and Dune $50? Because I could play co-op in Kingsmaker where I just have fun, or I could play fun inside of Dune. If you're gonna spend 100 hours in a survival game learning how it works, then maybe, just maybe, you should spend over 100 hours of you learning how to survive in the real world. I don't know about that, Sarge. Who's to say they haven't already learned how to survive? I don't know. I don't know if that's a comparison. Video games and real life. Well, since you're already playing video games, it's like, yeah, if Kingmaker's $50, I'd probably pick that over Dune. But I'd probably play Kingmaker a lot less than Dune, if that makes sense. I would buy it first, but I wouldn't put as much time in Kingmakers as I put into Dune. Salty says, I already survived 39 years in the real world. Yeah. I don't know, man. See, the reason I bring up numbers, like, when you look at Conan and it only has like 9,000 people playing it, I don't ever try to rub it in people's faces like, oh, it's not successful. It's 8 years and there's 9,000 people playing. You look at brand new games that the media tells you that are very popular, and then you look at it and they're not popular, right? If your game is a brand new game and you're having a player base less than a game that's 9 years old, you probably have a problem, right? Waterbear says, real world, overrated. Would not recommend 2 stars. Yeah, if I was, as John Walker, I would just skip real world. Overrated. I would just skip it. Just skip the boss fight in real world. Next time you get in a fight, next time you get in an argument or a fight with somebody, you just look at them and go, look, I'm not going to fight. John Walker told me to skip it. I'm leaving. I don't want this boss fight. Your wife comes over and how come you didn't? John Walker told me to skip it. Krebs says, speaking of that topic, there's also a new thread on Fuck Ubisoft covering AC Shadow sales. Oh, yeah? I spent 82 hours in Power World. I'm good on survival for a while. Right, but why did you get Power World, El Nini? You probably like Pokemon, right? You probably like Pokemon and you're like, you know what? I want to play a Pokemon survival game. And you liked it, right? And especially for the price. The price for Power World was phenomenal. I think we put in, I forget how many hours we put in. We put in about 10 hours in on Game Pass, and then we put another, I think, 40 hours in on PC. Sarge says people are going to John Walker the shit out of Dune. Yeah, I like how we've made skipping something longer by saying John Walker. We're going to Walker it. Should we just say Walker it? Just skipping it? AC Shadows sold. I thought they would only sold one copy, and then Travis took back the GameStop to trade in. I don't think they ever did say what they sold. Jay dubbed it. Travis, why do you keep bringing up the fucking treadmill? It's not even our fucking treadmill. Z said, look at the boss and decide what would John Walker do. That's right. Be like, oh, what is this? What would John Walker do in this situation? I'm going to J-Dub work tomorrow. Saint says, damn, 20 minutes behind. All right, let's see Twitter real fast. See what's happening on Twitter. Oh, Water Bear, I'm gonna need you to come in on the weekend. Nah, I'm just gonna jaywalker that. I'm gonna jaywalker that. What is this? Let's see. For the first time ever, 16 of our games, from new releases like Assassin's Creed Shadows to classic Watch Dogs 2, are available to buy on the Xbox app and Windows PC. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Ubisoft just announced yesterday. Look at that. You don't even need a console to buy the games. That's amazing. More places to buy your games without owning a console. Ubisoft. Amazing. Who would have thunk it? Helldivers added its city maps. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I might have to jump back into Helldivers sometime. A lot of updates. I downloaded the first Descendant. I updated anyway. I logged in and I was completely lost. I logged out maybe 20 minutes later. Altern says, people that have consoles are not buying their games. What makes you think that people without one would? I mean, there are people. And you're putting it out there for other people that don't own consoles that might actually buy consoles because those people don't own anything and they're okay not owning anything. You went to Helldivers recently? It felt good? What is this? Oh, Painkiller. Painkiller looks pretty good. With its 1.6 update, Star Wars Outlaws has finally fixed the janky as hell speeder combat. Congratulations, Star Wars Outlaws. What do we, when did it come out? October last year? September? Or was it August? August, September? What month did it come out? Right? So you got, wait, when did that come out? August 30th. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Right? It took 9 months. 9 months. 30 is right again. You could have a kid in the amount of time a game that you paid $120 for actually came out that was actually still not finished, by the way. Still not finished. They just fixed it. They just fixed the thing that was broke for the last 9 months. You could shoot on the speeder now and not have to worry about slowing down at all. That's shit. Alter says Ubisoft is also upping their game. Before that would also have taken 18 months. Now it takes 9. Hopefully next time it'll fix it in about 6 months. Yeah, I think by the time I'm 50 years old, we might actually have games that come out complete again. So ridiculous, though. So ridiculous. Somebody on the very first comment, Patrick says, did they fix the rest of the game? Fantastic. Third comment says, despite its 1.6 update, Star Wars Outlaws has finally become the biggest failure ever, thanks to his purposely ungifted female protagonist. Nice update. Glad they fixed the speeder combat. Smiley face. Smiley face. Thank you for working so hard after robbing us. Thank you. Thanks for fixing the thing that should have been fixed at the very beginning. We appreciate you. Oh, that's why they fixed it. That's why they fixed it. Because Pirate's Fortune is out now. Hey, look at that. Remember, you could have bought this last week for $26 with the DLC. Let's see what else is going on. Amazing. Yeah, Pirate's Fortune out today. Oh, did Andor finish their series finally? Yeah, I think that's about it. What do you think is the perfect length for the main story in GTA 6? All right, well, GTA 3 had 14 and a half hours. Vice City had 17 and a half hours. San Andreas had 30 and a half. Grand Theft Auto 4 had 27 hours, and Grand Theft Auto 5 had 32. I would say for Grand Theft Auto 6, I would say about 30 hours. I think 30 hours would be good. I would say that's okay. New job listing, new job listing triggered some discussion, and the sources weighed in. Could the next Xbox be based on Qualcomm's technology with Snapdragon? Yeah, 30, 35 hours. That's pretty good, El Nini. Captain says, doesn't Red Dead Redemption 2 have like a 50-hour to beat? Is it 50 hours for that? Yeah. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 takes approximately 50 to 60 hours to complete. Main story, 40 to 60 hours, all depending. Roughly 50 hours. Yeah, just the story. Just the story, Sarge. Yeah, nothing else. $30 hours from 30 is 30. Perfect. I think 30 hours is good for a single player for that game. I don't think all story games should be 30 hours. I think most single player story games, I'm okay with 15 to 20 hours on stuff like that. Because Grand Theft Auto takes like a decade, it's been 13 years. I think, especially if it's $100, especially if it's going to be a $100 video game or $80 video game. I think for a $60 video game, 15 to 20 hours is good. I think if you're going to charge $80 for a single-player game, it better be around 25 to 30 hours. Each their own, though. Where's the Rockstar employee guy when you need him? Yeah, where is that Rockstar guy? He was here. It's magically just came into a small channel on YouTube to tell me that they're still working on the game. All right. I think that is going to do it for us today, which is going to do us for the week. I'm going to try to upload some videos to 30 and Still Gaming, playing some gameplay of if I try, or upload Expedition 33 or more Towerborn. But no more live streams until Monday. There is no GXG episode this evening. I have a 95th birthday party to go to. So that's what's happening tonight. I won't be back in time for the actual show to start at 8 o'clock. So I probably won't be back till like 9, and then it gets late, and I have to be up early for my son's doctor's appointment tomorrow. So we got to be up at like 4:30 in the morning. So probably not going to happen. Most likely not happening. So we're just going to cancel that this evening. So appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty Dune and daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand.